Well, hey, boys.
Hi, Zach.
It's great to be here.
Yeah, welcome.
And I am here.
Yeah, no, welcome to be
here.
physically
I'm
here.
physically, tangibly, in real life.
We're all in
You're
Western Washington.
spiritually here.
I've always spiritually been here. I haunt these walls.
Oh, shit.
But I'm here in Washington back with you guys for one of these IRLs.
Yeah.
Where we all get to experience it. There's no lag. And when we do this and when somebody does this in post, if, someone ever does get to post, it's going to be easier to edit because we're all in the same room, baby. We ain't got to sync two audios
One
together,
audio
baby boys.
file.
I'm excited for that part.
Yeah, that's efficiency.
So this is my episode, y'all, and I'm Zach. That's Ryan to my left.
Yes, that's me.
And then if the voice you will hear next is Tay Rob Roberts.
Hi, how's it going, everybody?
So yeah, we're all back here for another episode of whatever this is, and maybe that should be the title.
Podcasting project.
Yeah,
Story time with the boys.
story time with the boys. Okay,
let's get a clean take. Story time with the boys.
I'm not sold on story time with the boys.
Neither am I, but you know what? It's
but
surprisingly
it is-
not taken.
It is an island, and when we've been surfing the tides for a while, I mean,
We also have had a penchant of liking names of a podcast that are already taken.
it sucks, doesn't it? It's
It
like
really does.
there's nothing new around the sun.
It's like when
No.
you're picking a handle on some sort of platform.
Can I suggest XX, Awesome Pimp Daddy?
You want to put 1, 2, 3 at the end of that?
Yeah, you want?
Yeah.
Hey, what about your birth date? That makes it easier for people to find you.
Not if you're from me, like me, and you're from 1988. Then people get a whole different idea
People
about
get
you.
yeah.
grander,
Yeah.
different. Oh, hey, are we recording?
We are.
We are recording.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Are we recording?
We're recording.
Oh, okay.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh hell yeah. Oh,
I don't know which.
Zach, we had one job to do each.
each we had to have one.
I don't have a
Literally only.
screen or a knob to look at or touch, but I'm going to say, boys, we're recording.
Oh, okay.
Thank God. Thank God you're
God,
here.
Thank God, Taylor.
Okay. Well then, let's dive on into this one, boys, because I feel like I wrote this maybe a couple weeks ago when I was really jazzed on this idea.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been on tour with the bands. I've been out of my place for about a month now, so I might be stumbling through this, but I remember exactly why.
As
I
Bob
Seger
Seger would say, you're a rambling man.
Yeah, Lord, I was born a rambling man. All right, so let's talk about the last perfect man.
An Adonis, if you will.
An
The
Adonis.
Vitruvian
It's
man.
definitely Henry Cavill, right?
Yeah,
Because
That's a
he
handsome guy.
is
This
he
this
is
is the slideshow about Henry
This is
Cavill.
he's perfect men. He
Yeah.
wears the pajamas.
Mm-hmm.
If not Henry Cavill, then it may be a John Hamm who's both handsome and funny.
Ooh.
But Henry Cavill has he not just been every good guy in the
I mean,
thing?
I was making a dumb Superman
Well,
joke.
Henry
Yeah, yeah, I know
Cavill-
you were. I know you were.
Yeah.
But
Henry
he does-
Cavill's the perfect man because he's both like handsome, great at action, and nerdy.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It's that.
So thanks guys for coming. This has been a great podcast.
Oh, we got it. We got
it's
it.
John
Yeah.
Hamm.
It's
Congratulations, John Hamm.
Well, so-
2023's perfect man.
What do you, Ryan? What do you think? What's your idea of perfect? And out of any context whatsoever.
Ooh, my idea of perfect is only it's not decided upon the man the human doing the thing. It's dependent on the bar that is set for what a perfect thing is.
Okay.
If we want to talk in terms of perfect, this has to pertain to man, right? The perfect man,
Yeah.
the perfect actor. We can
Well,
say
just-
a Daniel Day-Lewis. We can say somebody that puts themselves in that craft.
Mm-hmm.
You could also say the perfect man is the man who's perfect for that job. You could say a Steve Buscemi, who's
Well, I'm asking what's perfect.
what's perfect.
We'll put man in this and in another.
Perfect, you would assume flawless if we're
Flawless.
going Webster Dictionary.
Okay.
Sorry,
Well,
sorry. I know.
Which I
was,
do have pulled up right now, but
I was
whatever.
I was going deep thinking here. I was
Yeah.
trying to outthink the question.
We're gonna start
but
with perfect. We're not gonna get to man. That's way
Okay,
too complicated.
okay. No,
But
no.
we're gonna get to perfect man.
What about
here.
last? Are we just skipping last?
We are skipping last.
Describe what
What about
the? Yeah, describe what the means, Zach.
So you've given yourself a 4-word title,
And we're talking
and
about
you
only one.
only know about one of them.
Yep. Yep.
And then the other one has too much societal implication to really deep dive
Yeah, yeah.
into. That's
So,
a whole different
Well,
podcast.
last what is
Yeah.
it? Alpha Omega is last end, the finale.
Yeah.
But last can also be very flexible to being expanded brackets.
As someone who
between two
just
brackets.
naturally knows the spoilers of this episode, that's not even all that appropriate. In terms
Brother,
of
let
last.
me-
Brother,
Leave my
come
deal
on.
here,
We're having
dude.
fun with words
Oh,
here.
that's called a spoiler alert, dude.
That's called cheating, Taylor. Hulkamaniacs.
I'm sorry.
don't cheat.
I'm sorry. I've been alive.
Ryan, Taylor, what do you think? What is your kind of definition of perfect? When you think of perfect, what do you think of?
Oh my goodness. It would be a confluence of time, condition, and I suppose like material, whether that be like living or non-living, in terms of perfect. Like it is.
Going very scientific method with it. Well, I mean, yeah.
I have to do something different here.
Yeah.
He's got Webster's. You already took mine. So here we go, folks. It is
A third option.
it is that point in space where all of the lines meet together, where like all of the conditions are at their optimum.
Okay.
In Latin, it might be supra or super to talk about to
bring Henry back into the
Ryan's
conversation.
Superman. It's just where like everything is at its most optimized.
Yeah, I mean, it does come from, what is this, Latin, perfectus, where the per means complete, and the farse, to make, to do.
So you're doing.
Doing to complete.
We're doing etymology.
Yes, yeah. But
And-
you're completely doing. It's
Yes.
not just doing in an acceptable manner. Like,
It is.
You are.
It is complete, full, finished, lacking in no way. So all criterias of that
Yeah.
being met,
No,
all
that sounds about
boxes
right.
being
Yeah.
checked, right? It is not semi-perfect. It is not lacking in good. If one stat out of a
It's
four
not
stat
amazing,
box,
but-
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, so I want to go to the next slide here, y'all. I'll be in control of that right now. This is Mr. Perfect.
Oh, Kurt Hennig.
Kurt Hennig.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Kurt-
so yeah, sorry, I know you're gonna get into who this guy is.
No, let's talk
what
about
era? What era of wrestling is this?
Late
me?
80s, early 90s?
Okay,
Even to the early 2000s.
No, really?
he stuck around.
This man got in a fist fight with Brock Lesnar on a plane.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
like an out of match fist fight,
In
like a
legit IRL. We're fist
in a
fighting
battle
on
of the
a plane.
divas, 35,000
Not
feet up.
kayfabe.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't think I've seen this guy in any of like the '90s wrestling that I've
No,
seen.
he was
Or
really a
if I
sleeper.
have, he's in the background and I don't care because
Yeah.
it's not a Stone Cold.
He wasn't a Stone
or
Cold. He wasn't a Rock.
an
he wasn't a
Undertaker,
Sting
a
or an
Mick
Undertaker.
Foley.
Also,
yeah.
the wrestling that we exposed you to was very WWE centric,
Yeah.
and by the time we were like looking at the WWE Attitude Era, Kurt Hennig was a guy who had gone from WWE to WCW.
Yeah.
at this
Oh,
point in
okay. So
time,
he's part of that
But
WCW crew.
he was a gentleman that gave this persona of being very honestly up his own ass. Like he look at his smug face.
It's
he would come to the
sarcasm.
ring
Miss-
chewing gum, smugly looking at the fans. His whole thing was, "I am better than you.
I am perfect.
And you
I
know
am
it.
perfect." This is Mr. Perfect, Kurt
Yeah,
Hennig.
yeah.
So he himself meets the desire. He tells himself that he meets the desirable elements to create that moniker. You look at it's subjective perfection, right? This is a very subjective idea of what perfect would be. But he gets to own that because there is in wrestling.
Perfect is also a pretty subjective concept.
yeah, no,
in
no,
the
like
term of wrestling, right?
well, in the term of anything, like perfection is usually decided not by you who completes the thing,
Oh,
but usually by the people that know of your deeds or know the bar that you have set.
There are
in that
rarely ever
perfection.
metrics in which
Yeah.
something perfect can be measured.
well,
by.
that is interesting that y'all say that, and we will go to the next slide, please. Because this is a bowling perfect game.
Oh,
The 300?
A 300. Bowling has a system of scoring that can be completed in one perfect way of scoring the most pins in a game.
which bowling's always confused me points wise, and we do not have time to
No.
explain
No,
all
it's-
of bowling.
it's super easy.
But when
Bowling's
we're
super
going
easy.
when we're going through, you're getting all strikes.
Yep.
But then your last frame 10, you have to get 3 strikes in a row.
And
Is it like multi-ball where if you get a strike, you get another thing and another
Yes.
thing?
When you get
Only
a strike,
in frame 10.
when you're
Only
when
in frame 10.
Well, it comes down to the concept of how a strike is scored. A spare is scored when you get all the pins in the 2 turns of the roll of the ball. You get
Yeah.
your score for that frame is judged upon the first roll of your next frame.
yeah, you get
add
2 throws a frame.
You
Yeah.
add the first throw of your next frame to that one.
Oh,
So
I
if
get
you
that.
get a strike on the first frame and a strike on the second frame, a strike equals the next 2 frames. The next 2 throws of the ball, you get the cumulative total of that plus the one that you just did. So if you roll a strike in the first frame, you get 10 points plus whatever your next 2 rolls of the ball accomplish. If you get a strike in the second
Gotcha.
frame, that is
Oh.
10 added points to your first frame.
Here's
and
the
you still-
abstract 30 points made sense to me,
Yes.
but this makes a lot more
because
sense.
it's the accumulation of 3 rolls of the ball, because you're guaranteed 3 rolls of the ball. So that's why in the 10th frame, if you score a strike, you still are guaranteed 2 more rolls of the ball to figure out what that frame will accomplish in
Gotcha.
numbers.
You're not guaranteed. Well, I guess you are. Even if you spare out,
Even if
you
you
get
spare
2
out.
more.
If you were to spare on frame 10, would
Yeah.
you still get the third chance?
No,
You would not get the third
okay,
chance.
It's just
you get a
strikes.
second chance
Yeah.
Okay.
in frame 10.
Oh.
To get a strike, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
No,
So-
you get a second chance to get a spare.
Best
in frame
idea is
10.
you get
Yeah.
a strike, and if you
You
roll a spare,
to get the 3 strikes in frame 10, you have to throw a strike
On
in
the
each
first-
of those
Yes.
throws.
Mhm. You have to keep the system going. So this is a perfect game of bowling. This is what it looks like, and it's a very easily attainable thing. Not easily, I should say.
I
It's a-
would
it's a
argue
tangible bar.
it's not
It's a tangible
easily.
bar for someone even like Bill Morrow, who on the day that the 2 twin towers fell,
that now.
on the day that those 2 tall boys fell down in our great New York City, that man was so laser focused in that he threw a
crushed
300
it.
game.
Look how hard he's hiding his smile. He
Yeah.
is so happy
This
in this
man-
moment, but it's also like
Yeah.
CNN's just playing on like loudspeakers in the
I bet
bowling
he
alley.
didn't understand what the weight of this image is going to be.
Do you think he had? I mean, he got strikes the entire time. Do you think he threw a strike when one of the planes hit?
I
No.
think so.
And he's like, they're
I mean, there's-
cheering for me.
No.
And they're
There's
screaming
24
for me.
hours in
No.
a day, but I want to believe.
They're
It's
crying for
impossible.
me.
It's impossible.
Oh yeah, because it would have been like 9-10 in the morning.
Exactly.
But I don't
Bowling
know-
alleys aren't open at the time. Or
Look
if he's
at
on
Bill.
the West Coast, it was like 6 in the fucking morning.
Look at Bill though. That's a man who would bowl.
This
at-
is a man who knows America has suffered a tragedy.
And it needs something.
He's bowling it
needs
out.
And
something.
it needs a hero. And that hero's name is William Morrow.
Good old Bill.
Yeah.
Bill.
I-
Is this a photo you took?
I actually got.
No, I wish.
This is actually a pretty big
It's,
meme.
it's a quite a viral.
I have
Gotcha.
seen
Yeah.
this
Okay,
image
I've
of
never.
Bill
I
Morrow.
thought
I've seen
someone at the
a-
table would have seen Bill
I feel
by now.
fairly educated. I've never seen this picture.
No, I think it was like on a Twitter account that
Yeah,
was just like
yearly it
poorly
comes around.
timed things.
Oh, it's
and it
wonderful.
was this guy who had bowled his 300 game on September
Even
11th,
more so, look at
2001.
the pain in the eyes,
I'm more
but then that
confused
like
about this bowling scoring sheet up above that's completely unrelated to Bill.
Nate and
Yeah,
Jesus.
Yeah, where Nate and Jesus.
I don't know. This was a Google image search.
Okay.
I don't have
Is
any
this just
backstory on the Jesus and Nate switching
Is
of names.
this a white man oppressing a
Oh.
Hispanic man?
No, I think
By
this
stealing
is,
his
I
bowling
think-
score?
No. This is a Christian thing because Jesus bowled a perfect 300, but then at the last minute on the cross, he switches it with Nate.
That's right.
He sacrifices himself for the sins of Nate, which they could have come up with a better name.
Because
That's
Nate-
what this is.
Jesus died for our sins. Ah, and Nate is terrible at bowling.
But they didn't
Well-
want to put Sins as Nate, so Sins won a perfect
Yeah.
game. you
I
know.
guess if this is a hyper cringe Christian meme, I'm going to posit that Nate is mine and Ryan's high school computer science teacher, Nate Hansen.
Oh yeah.
Wow, shout out to Nate Hansen.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
He wasn't fun.
Yeah.
And best time was when he went away and we were supposed to do a project and all of us just taught the substitute how to play Flash games.
We taught a boomer how to play Line Rider.
Yeah.
And he had the time of his
for
life.
months.
And we got nothing done. The whole class got yelled at because
we all got in trouble.
everyone got in trouble because none one finished their project that we were supposed to do while he was on paternity leave, and instead we just taught our substitute teacher how to play a Flash game.
Wow.
It was a good time.
Bravo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. This is perfect in in an objective standard.
Yes.
Where there's an accomplishment that can be reached, and it is the perfection of what that sport determines. Y'all ready to swerve a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Isaiah?
Next slide. So baseball, right? Everybody fucking loves baseball.
I've heard of a perfect game before in baseball.
Sure, we're getting there.
Okay. But
Were the center pictures clearly on Jackie Robinson Day?
No. Mariano Rivera was honoraried in for like 5 to 7 years being able to wear the number 42.
For real.
Yeah,
they
'cause the
gave that
Jackie,
allowance?
The Jackie Robinson day was like only 15
Well, I know
years
Ken
old.
Griffey Jr.
It's
only like
was,
15 years old, so-
The man at the bottom of the pile in the bottom right picture
Yeah.
was very crucial in
Yep.
the establishment of Jackie Robinson.
Oh
Day.
yeah, oh yeah.
Okay,
But
so
it
I'm
is-
just
it is a
simply misunderstanding
really
the
new
time
thing. It's
in
a
which
really
this
new
picture
thing.
was taken.
His
Okay.
number was retired in all ballparks for a long time.
Yeah.
But the retirement of the number completely from the game, Mariano Rivera snuck his sneaky.
He's like kind of the last little guy to like
Oh,
slip
okay.
in under the line.
Interesting.
Because
Is-
Mo Vaughn, never mind. Go ahead,
Sorry. Is this top right picture of the Angels? Is that from Angels in the Outfield?
dude. That's everyone's favorite moment in baseball. When fucking
When Charlie Sheen catches the ball.
not Charlie, dude. It's
When Joseph
Mel
Gordon-Levitt's
Clark-
dad.
when Mel Clark. No, that's not Joseph Gordon-Levitt's dad.
I
His
know.
His
His
dad was,
his deadbeat dad went away at the beginning of the movie for a pack of smokes, and
and
he
the
never.
Angels. When the Angels win the pennant, he'll come back.
He didn't just come back for a pack of smokes. He gave specifications. He said, when the Angels win the fucking World Series, I'll become a part of your life again.
That's why it's a perfect movie, Taylor.
So
It's a-
Mel Clark catches that ball, and that's when Roger and JP get adopted by Coach George Knox. And that's everyone's favorite baseball story of all time. And then you have right there on the bottom right,
Oh, yeah.
is the Seattle Mariners going to the ALCS for the first time.
Post the 95 slide.
95 slide, yeah. Edgar Martinez hits a blooper into left field, and
Ken Griffey gets from second to home.
takes the first. Ken Griffey
First
brings
to
the
home.
mail in
Oh,
from
okay.
first. And, yep, slides on in there.
perfect man for the job at that
Perfect
time.
man for the job. Then you top left, one of my favorites. That's
Oh.
Nolan Ryan.
Oh,
And,
Who's
is
about
he
to-
getting tackled?
He's being held back by his own teammates in this picture.
oh, really?
Or he's being tackled in celebration.
He looks
I
like
don't
he's
know.
winding up
His
for an
face
anime
confuses
pitch.
me.
I don't know if the other two players are on his team or are they.
The jerseys look close. The
Yeah.
one in the far right of the image is on his team. That's his catcher,
Okay.
Ivan Rodriguez.
Who's
Okay.
trying to pull.
Oh, and
Trying to pull him off.
Ventura.
Robin Ventura is in a stranglehold right now.
Is he a
and
Dodger or something?
He's a Chicago White Sox.
Now I see Nolan Ryan's got his
okay.
arm around him.
And he's about to give him the sickest noogie of all time.
He's about to
Oh,
give him
yeah.
some sweet chin music.
Nolan Ryan is 46 years old in this image, and Robin Ventura is 26 years old.
I'm gonna say the lighting in this picture doesn't do Nolan Ryan any favors because
No.
it kind of looks like he has a Charlie Chaplin stash.
Yeah, no,
oh, I
that's the
see.
ni-
If you
that's the
catch my
nice
drift.
way.
It's a
That's
heavy
the nice
shot.
way to say a Hitler mustache,
Yeah, it's
Taylor.
a heavy shadow up in the upper lip.
But
yeah.
no, I do like even in this poor quality photo, you see the veins in his right fucking hook that's about ready to throw the ultimate knuckleball
The hammer
that's
straight
about to
into
drop.
straight into Ventura's dome.
Robin Ventura was like one of the last people that that Nolan Ryan hit, and he did not take exception to that from the old man. So he charged them out, and little did
hit
he
by
know.
pitch, not hit physically with a fist. Which is he?
Quite
what he's
likely
about
last
to
in the
assault.
diamond.
Whoa! So Ventura's already been hit by the time
By
this
a
By
picture
a
ball.
is
fucking
like
baseball going
by-
100
yeah,
miles
yeah,
an
yeah,
hour, yeah. And so then he takes exception to that, runs up towards the mountain. Little did he know, old man can scrap. And that is him. That's the first move.
Keeping it
in
real
the
has
fight.
keeping it real has gone
leans
wrong.
into a headlock.
He gets-
He
he-
trips into a headlock,
gets-
and Nolan Ryan starts pounding the.
He starts
head off
hockey
of it.
fighting him.
He starts hockey fighting.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what a natural one on any check looks like. Like,
Yes.
yeah, and then you run up to him straight into a fucking
Not only
headlock.
did you get fucking beamed, which hurts like a motherfucker, I can only assume.
Yeah.
You stumbled on your way up to engage in combat, and now you're getting just absolutely fucking shit rocked from
you know
a
the
46-year-old
and you
man.
know
Yeah.
the crowd is cheering because they know he's a 46-year-old
Yep.
man fighting
Uh-huh.
this young kid.
I would.
Yeah, no matter what.
But you know what? Pain is temporary, but the glory of thinking you're going to beat up Nolan Ryan is forever.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah,
kept charging
true.
ahead.
I would argue that's temporary.
so
Because that lasts about 4 seconds until you get to
until
the
you find
mound.
out that
Until you
you better learn today, buddy.
You have a 4-second fuck around period before the find out
Before
period.
the find out comes quick like a freight train.
Before find out era begins.
Yeah, it's just physics.
I'm in my find out era. So then bottom left is Jose Bautista in the 7th inning of a 3-3.
The Blue Jay?
The Blue Jay.
Yes, the
against,
Toronto Blue Jays,
Against
Canada's
the
team.
Texas Rangers in the ALCS. In the ALDS. And so this image was taken.
Runed Lindor
Well,
in this one.
I
that
see
was
a
the-
bunch of happy Blue
Is that
Jays
not the
fans.
same fight?
This isn't about fights.
All
We were stuck on fights, but
Yeah.
Taylor, let me tell you, this is the image that preceded that fight.
Yes, I know.
Because he hit that home run, did
and he
this.
bat flipped.
He
Yeah.
bat flipped. He pimped the shit out of that bat.
He gave the most aesthetic bat
and the
throw
Texas
he could.
Rangers
The
couldn't
next
accept
time,
that level of disrespect.
The next time they played each other, the second baseman of the team that he hit that home run against
Ronel Lenore.
punched him right in the fucking face
Jesus
at
Christ.
second base.
I mean,
Granted, there was a
he-
kickoff moment of that. It wasn't like just like
No, it wasn't like-
at the start of the game he ran from
Cracked
second
his
base to
knuckles.
fucking home and punched him.
as somebody from the outside of sports looking in, I can never be against a player when they do something, and excel
Oh, yeah.
at their sport.
Me too.
If you want to celebrate for 3-4 seconds, go for it.
I think
I will never have a problem. It's when it's like, oh yeah, no, that amount of disrespect. He threw his bat in a funny way.
Yeah, exactly. And that is a very that
Like, I don't
itself
get
brought
it.
up its own like racial questions in baseball about like this is the way people not from America play the game of baseball where they take on the highlights like that.
But did
this,
he just like hit a home run?
he just crispy the most perfect spot on the bat undoubtedly.
Is it like a
Second
walk
decker.
off?
his name is Jose Bautista, and he hits dingers.
His nickname is Joey Bats.
Okay.
But
that's all it takes.
This wasn't like the end of the game. This was at home. This was the series was tied. This was the last game. Someone's walking home. Someone's
Okay.
going home or someone's going
Oh,
on.
is this the big dance?
This is playoffs.
This is the playoffs. This
Playoffs.
playoffs.
Okay.
This is the playoffs. Game 6 of a tied up series. Game 7 of a tied up series.
This dude's about to be the cover athlete of MLB The Show the next
absolutely.
year.
This
No,
action. I mean, he's already
true.
great, but
This
this
is a big moment.
puts him into stardom.
This is a big moment that a big player got to have, right? That
Yeah.
created him as a big player.
I wouldn't care if he threw his bat into Christopher Lloyd and fucking Jennifer Aniston over there in the crowd. I wouldn't. I'd give two shits.
So then moving into the bottom center, we see Derek Jeter, the captain of baseball. I hated him growing up. I hated
Apparently
him so much.
being attacked by ghosts.
He
in
is
this.
being attacked. He's being actually chain pulled by invisible chains on a stretcher.
No, instead it's the much more mundane and real thing. He's just celebrating someone else like securing a win.
No, he did this. This is what is impressive. This is the series this slide represents is perfect, great moments in baseball. Great moments in baseball. Blatantly.
Perfect moments in baseball.
Great moments in baseball.
Okay.
Not perfect yet.
Not perfect.
Okay.
Derek
okay.
Jeter is celebrating because in his last game at Yankee Stadium of his professional career, he hit a walk-off single. He got to celebrate a win with his team at the last possible moment when they could get the win. They were losing up until that point.
He just needed to get on first base, and that
just
would
needed to get
that
on,
would rotate,
and that would force all
it's a
the
walk off.
He just needed a guy to get from third or second home.
Yeah.
So technically, someone could have fucked this up for him.
Someone could have fucked it up.
Yeah.
But it was also the first pitch of the at bat, so he just went up there, he hit the ball, game over. Yankees go home, winners.
Okay.
He drove the batter in from second too, so there was a lot that could have fucked around on that play. But he hit it deep enough that
But he didn't find out.
he did not find
Like,
out.
look at that face. It's
Look at
small,
him.
but look at that face.
But look at him. And so it was his. Derek Jeter was getting all of his flowers every ballpark he went to. Hey, it's your last season. Here's this gift. Thank you so much for your time in baseball.
I mean, yes,
And
Derek Jeter
Oh,
did
is this
hit
the end of his
ball.
career?
It's the end of his career. This is
Oh.
the last game in Yankee Stadium.
This is the last of the Derek Jeter cock-sucking appreciation tour.
Which, at the time, it was. But I want to say, with these rose-colored glasses, thank God it's over. But Derek Jeter had a hell of a career, and for Derek Jeter, who was throughout his career boasted and he was skyrocketed to the moon. He's the cover of baseball.
So 40 years from now, when we get the biopic, this is
how you end it.
This is how you freeze frame, and then you throw the
this is
text
the
on.
beginning, middle, and end.
And
We're
then he
watching
became a
this moment happen.
commentator that nobody liked.
I would argue that sports doesn't necessarily have like that person, but if this is the snapshot of the 2000s baseball
Yeah.
is the era of Derek Jeter.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there will be others after him, and there clearly are others after Derek Jeter. There are certainly those before Derek Jeter, but for your
But him
era,
being a Yankee too got him so much more publicity.
you're in the biggest
to be-
market in the
biggest
sport.
market. You were a high stakes player. You were part of the most winning team in the '90s. So, and to top off this slide, we're gonna go dead center, which is one of my favorite images in baseball. This shot right here. This is game. What are we saying? What are we saying? Where are we, Zach? Where are we,
I don't know.
Zach?
You
Where
got
are you,
Mario
Zach?
Rivera pitching to an Arizona Diamondback of some sort, and I'm
Luis
buying time.
Gonzalez.
He's either
All right.
swinging at a ball that is way too high to be swinging
No,
at,
he's hit
or
that ball.
he's hit that ball, and number 42 here who's sneaking by with
And
that
so
number.
I didn't write this one down, but I want to say it was Game 7 of the World Series in 2001, which was against the New York Yankees. It was the year, happened when fucking Bill pulled the perfect game and that thing in New York happened. Mm-hmm. This was a team from Arizona that started in 1995, I wanted to say.
Yeah,
so
very
they're in their
young.
Yeah,
sixth or
Diamondbacks
seventh
were
year.
very young.
They're in their 6th or 7th year as being a franchise.
You had
They've
teams
picked-
celebrating their centennial almost. At
Oh,
this
yeah,
mo-
yeah.
At
You've
this
picked a
point.
bunch of players from different teams, and they've found their way to be.
Is Randy Johnson still on them in 2001?
Randy Johnson is
He
on this
is.
team. Kurt Schilling. Have your opinions
Ugh.
about Kurt
I
Schilling.
only have like
He's
backyard
on this
baseball
team.
knowledge.
I know, yeah. But this was the team that took down the New York Yankees in 2001, and this was a pop fly over Derek Jeter's head.
The second worst thing to happen to New York in
in a 2-month span. One was
was
the
it
other
World
one-
Series before?
after
No,
they
this is
paused the season.
even if
Oh.
they hadn't paused baseball play after September 11th, 2001, this would still occur in October of
Oop.
2001.
You're telling me that baseball was paused for 9/11 and then came back and then they didn't have their Saints moment, like they got their
They
ass,
almost did.
they
'Cause
got
the
their ass
Yankees-
kicked by some Arizona new boy
by
team.
some desert
That's
dogs.
why you
By
had
some fucking purple team. What
by
is
some
this?
desert serpents.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why you had to
Exactly.
wait till the Super Bowl when a team called the New England Patriots
That's right, baby.
won the Super Bowl against the St. Louis Rams
NFL's
to
fixed.
make America
NFL's
feel
fixed.
good again.
Yeah.
NFL's fixed.
MLB's fixed.
Apologies,
NFL's
Zach,
fixed.
if we're just derailing.
No,
the
we're
fuck
good.
Out of this.
No, we're good. I wanted to spend some time on all these slides. So then I got a little thing here. These are perfect moments in baseball. Other
These
sports
are-
have similar perfect moments. Like these are really good moments. I know.
Yeah.
I guess I wouldn't say that they're perfect, but they are superb for the weight that the game holds, and they deliver on those moments.
Particularly if you belong to the fan base of one of the teams.
Yes.
Okay.
It's undeniably a great moment, but if you say one of these is your perfect moment in baseball, like nobody,
up for debate.
Yeah, it's
also
up for
one's
debate.
not real.
Well,
Sorry?
sorry.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about, sir.
Top right.
If I knew my left from right, I would punch you in the face.
I feel like I can hear the audio of bottom right.
Okay, well then let's move on to the next slide, please.
Yeah.
To stats,
Wow.
nerd stuff.
Wow, there's a lot of numbers on this
nerd
page, Zach.
stuff.
Zach, I don't know.
So-
I
We got sabermetrics up here now.
I could do a whole slideshow about stats in baseball and what they represent and what kind of picture they paint, but I want to go over the basics so you have kind of a common knowledge of what some of the weight that these stats hold in the game of baseball. So let's start with pitching stats. That's probably where we're going to be getting most of our information from today.
These
is
are
pitching
these
stats.
are two of many pitching stats.
yeah, but your earned run average.
These are two styles. There is
Yeah.
you have
ERA.
a day of game on the top right, and then you have the overall summary of the season on the bottom. So IP stands for innings pitched. That is how long you've been in the game. And so if you're pitching in the 5th inning with everybody on, and they pull you out of the game, you've only pitched 5 innings. You have not, even though you're in the 6th inning and you've pitched this much. Every out is a 0.1.
Dear Ryan
this-
and listener,
This top right stat is
baseball inning
is,
is
is a
nine.
one game.
This is a single game.
This is a single
So,
game. So here's
we're
all
going-
your pitchers you
if we're
have,
going through
and
it,
then you have your.
We have George Kirby pitched
did
5
5,
innings.
yeah.
Spire pitched 1 inning. Brash pitched 1.1 innings. He took home the win that day. Salcedo pitched 0.1 innings. Munoz pitched 0.1 innings, and Campbell pitched 1 whole inning.
I hate
Okay.
I hate pitcher winning stats.
I have
so
I've
much.
I have a couple questions.
Yes.
Because what constitutes a win for a pitcher? Is it that you're the last pitcher
A win?
and you won that game?
No. A win is calculated if your team holds the lead by the time you leave the game. But you also have to pitch 5 full innings. So if your team takes the lead in the third inning and you're pulled in the third inning,
Brash
But
didn't.
Brash did it in 1.1.
the team didn't have the lead at that point.
Yeah.
If you're the pitcher that holds the lead while if you're the pitcher when your team takes the lead, you get the win.
Even if you didn't pit, if it's after 5 innings.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
Not
so
if
somebody
you have
scores
yourself.
10 points in the first inning and
Runs.
second inning, it said 10 runs. Yes.
Runs.
I can't tell you how
10
many times in MLB The Show I've pitched a very specifically great game
But you never got the
into
win.
13 fucking innings, and then somehow, some way, my reliever gives up a run, and then I'm the losing pitcher somehow.
That is because they take you out while that batter's at bat. So if you're on the mound when a batter comes up to bat, that batter is your responsibility. If they take you out 1 pitch in, even 0 pitches in, but they have already stepped in the batter's box,
or 20 pitches in.
and then that person hits a home run, that's your batter, and that is your earned run given. All right. So next
That's why
stat,
ERA
Yeah,
sucks.
yeah.
next is hits. That is how many times someone got a hit off of you.
Yep.
Pretty simple.
A hit can be a foul.
No.
No, it's
Has
a hit.
to be an in-play
It's
ball.
a ball in
Yes.
play that you achieve first, second, third, or home plate
You
on
get
that
to
hit.
a plate
And it's
the ball
because
was in
of
play.
where you hit the ball. It's
Yeah.
not because of a mistake. That's known as an error.
Yeah, that's an error on the other team. So you could have no hits, but still have
Well,
gotten on
an
base.
error
Well,
is
yes,
still
with the ball.
subjective
Error
stat.
is a very subjective stat.
Because it's given to the umpires to determine if a player was able to make the play or if they fucked up.
So if
Based
say
on some fucking Final Fantasy
It
shit.
kind of is.
Yeah,
So
when
you
it
know-
comes to like pitcher and umpire,
Yeah.
like
no, that's why there are literally like lawsuits that happen within baseball, or at least like a player's lawyer petitioning the league to say that no, that wasn't an error, that was just an honest hit, so that my player doesn't have an error, so they have less errors on their record when we come
Yeah.
to contract
Yeah.
negotiations.
So R is runs, and this is pitching stats. So this is a run that you gave up.
a run is
does that
ER
count if somebody is on second,
Uh-huh.
then you come up to the you are now on the mound.
Yep.
And somebody's still on second.
That's the old
The guy
pitchers.
that's on second, you
That's
didn't
the
give
old
the hit
pitchers.
up to.
That's the old
Yeah.
pitchers.
if no matter what, if they get a run on you, that's one run.
It's
against
your
you.
run. It's not the
you
guy who
you
fucked
put
up
this
and
batter
that
on the
guy
base
back.
path.
Yeah.
It's your responsibility.
Gotcha.
If you're pulled before you're
If
able
you
to
put
get
them
with
on the bases and they make a run, that's
Yeah,
a run scored
absolutely.
against you. Gotcha.
So ER, that's an earned run. That's someone that you allowed to get a hit.
All right.
So
And they
run,
got across
run,
home plate.
run, and earned runs are typically the same fucking number.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
very,
yeah, yeah.
It's
What's
not
the
that
div-
often.
What's the
that
dividing factor?
is if they reach there on like a steal, or if they reach there on an error, which is a subjective stat. An error being like the pitcher grabbed the
So-
ball, the batter hit the ball to the pitcher overthrew
Yes.
it to the first baseman. That's an error because that's a physical error that occurred by that pitcher.
That's
So-
even technically an earned error. It would be a better example if you hit if the pitcher throws the ball to the batter hits it to the shortstop. The shortstop fumbles the ball and then grabs the ball and then throws it to first base before the hitter has made it to first base, but he throws it 5 fucking feet above the head
Yes,
of the
yeah,
first
yeah.
baseman.
You get a
That's
classic
an
error.
error.
That's an error.
Yeah. But I assume, just for layman's, and I apologize if you
Oh,
don't
yeah.
want this to take 10 hours, you will always have, in this theoretically, more runs than earned runs. Because runs
Yeah.
can happen off of errors.
Yeah,
but
you
the
can't
earned
have-
runs have that extra stipulation of it has to be errorless baseball.
Yeah, yeah,
and you know.
It'll either be equal to or like runs will either be equal
Equal
to
to-
your earned run
yeah.
average or more. They can never
Yeah.
be less.
Yes, it could, yeah.
BB is based on balls. It's not called a bob. It's a B.
It's a walk.
It's a BB.
Yeah, it's a BB.
In
So-
baseball, it's called a walk. You threw
walk.
4 balls to a
Oh,
batter.
okay, okay.
And they get
so
to
that,
walk
that's your
to
walk
first
counter.
base, yeah.
That's your
and
walk.
that would be an earned run as well because that batter earned that.
So say there's a
Place-
Yeah,
say
if they got a run from
If
it.
they
They
got a
a
run
run
from
from
it,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
there are some certain circumstances.
Oh my
there
God,
has
all
to
these
be
baseball cards are making so much more sense to me
One
now.
day I'm going to do a slideshow on
To-
scorecarding too.
to earn a run on walks. You have to be the guy that earned a run on walks. You have to be
Yeah.
on third base, but there also needs to be a guy on second base and first base for you to walk into home.
And
Because
Oh,
if
yeah.
there's an empty base,
Yeah.
so say there's a
Yeah,
runner
no,
on
I know
first and
this
third.
like
yeah,
surface
you're
level.
overdoing it. You're overdoing
Yeah,
it. We
no,
got
no,
that
no,
part.
no. I appreciate you, Taylor. I know this surface
wanna-
level
yeah.
baseball, but it's this other like.
A K is a strikeout.
Okay,
I'm
makes
not
sense.
going to go into why.
Yeah.
HR is home run, And then ERA is earned run average.
Home run because half of the league does the pitcher has to bat.
This is a defensive stat.
Oh, it's
ERA.
home runs against.
Given up.
Gotcha.
You start at 0 at the beginning of the season, and it traditionally will
This is
only
for the
trend
game.
upward.
And this is for the game. Remember, this top one
Yeah.
is a game stat.
There is a game and a season.
So all that
ERA.
factors into your ERA, which gives you kind of like a, hey, per game, yeah, you might give up 3.43
Not
runs.
quite. It's a 9-inning average. So you take how many runs you've given up and you divide it by 9, and that's how many runs you're going to give up over. This is the stat of how you're going to give up over 9 innings. If you were to pitch 9 innings, this is your estimated amount of
Oh,
runs
so
given
since
up.
you're only pitching
That's
one
on
inning,
a
you
season.
can divide that.
This
Yes.
is, and this is
It's
is-
seasonal.
This is on a
his-
seasonal thing.
yeah.
This is season
George
stats.
Kirby did not give up 27 runs in
Yeah.
those 5 innings.
Yeah.
I do want to clarify that in terms of like
Oh,
the
is that
dividing by
per
9
inning?
factor.
No,
Oh, no,
per
but
game.
the divide. Yeah,
It's-
yeah,
that's a
yeah,
whole season
sorry,
stat.
sorry.
That's
I'm getting
over the
confused
whole
by it, yeah.
season. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we go down to the bottom here where it shows this whole season stats. And we're looking at 2 years here. We're currently in the 2023 season. So this 2022 season is a full stat to look at of a whole complete. So
Just-
far, what we can see,
Well, there's also a G and a GS that explains how much of the season that particular player played.
games and games started.
I'm going googly eyes. I just want to go to the shop because it's all caps.
Yeah. So W is wins, L is losses, LG
Yeah.
is league gamed, American League. So far this season, he has gotten more wins, more losses than he did the whole entire last year. His ERA is .04 higher inside this season than it was last season.
But he's also played
He's
double,
played
almost
four less
double-
games.
Yeah, he's played less games.
Four
but,
less games.
But
Well,
maybe
he played
more-
13 games in 2022. He's played
What's
17
GS?
games. Yeah, so 4 less.
Complete games.
Oh.
GS's game started.
Okay.
So this is just a general set.
He's a starter.
he's
by
This
the
is a
looks of it.
this is a
Yeah.
pitcher exclusive stat.
Yeah.
CG is complete games. That is going for all 9 innings of your competition.
Wow. Well, he's a trooper. I mean, one game out of what, the 120?
Well,
Out of the 17 plus 13, so 30 games.
yeah,
he's played in.
something. Well,
Oh, he's.
he played 25 last season.
Oh, I guess so. No, he's
Or-
only played in 17 games.
Oh, I thought that was
At
games.
the time this
Yeah.
this stat box was created.
No, he
He'd
played
play-
21 games. 21
Well, I'm
started.
talking about complete games. Like
Complete
he's
games.
he's
One
done a complete game
out of the
this
20
year.
This year, and then so SHO is shutout. That is a complete game is one stat, and then if you have no one scored that time,
You pitched
Oh.
9 innings of baseball and no one scored off of you.
Yeah, not quite your perfect game.
You gave up hits, you gave up walks.
Yeah.
There were even some guys who got on base due to an error, but nobody made it around to home plate.
Yeah.
as we can see, also he's pitched only 1.1 innings less
What's IP?
innings pitched.
Yeah.
Okay.
Innings pitched. He did 130 last year. He's at 128.2, which is like he's 1 inning and 1 out away from tying that, which by the time we've recorded this, he's already done.
And by the time the season comes to an end at the end of September,
Yeah,
it'll
he'll-
be more than this.
Exactly. H
What,
is hits.
am I supposed to be gathering that like with the year not quite over but close to over? Like is this 2023 and 2022 season kind of like he's playing comparatively?
Yeah, and
He's
at
playing
the,
better.
At the
He's
time
playing-
of time of
playing
screenshot,
better.
he's playing better. He's doing more, but could be because they trust him more to give him the ball. They
Yeah.
could be a lot of things, and like some of these stats are a thing. He's hit only 3 players in comparison to 5 in the whole last season.
Yeah, he
He's
only hit
walked
3
less
guys.
He has
People-
less of a bloodlust.
In more games,
li-
he's hit
less
less
Nolan.
guys with the ball.
He has given up more home runs.
Okay.
He has given the same amount of earned runs as of screenshot and less runs. He has more runs and less runs at the same time.
Yep.
I'm afraid you're right.
I,
And so then there's average. That's a batting average upon his batters. So every 1 out of every
Oh, that-
4 are going to get a hit off of him.
okay.
0.250, 0.252. That's a quarter of the. So
That's
WHIP is walks, hits per innings pitched. So per inning pitched, he's going to give up about 1 hit or walk in that.
It's walks plus hits.
Walks plus.
They
hits.
basically view that as the same stat in whip.
And per inning pitched, I assume it means like multiplied by innings pitched.
Something like that.
It just counts
or
the amount of innings.
additive in a sense.
It just counts the amount of innings that you were in the game as the pitcher.
okay. I mean, I'm trying to get into baseball math.
Well,
here.
sure. And this is a lot to be thrown at you at one point.
Oh, absolutely. But
and it's
I
gonna be
feel like
so
I'm
funny
getting it.
because we're not gonna like look up any of this stuff.
Oh, of course
later on.
not.
It's just kind of a filler deal.
There's so many metrics that could be claimed as perfect. With this many stats,
Could there?
somebody is eventually going to be the
There
best
couldn't be.
ever.
So let's go on to offensive stats. Okay, this is from the same game from that last one. The top right being
We're using Julio. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we have we're using Julio as our whole season because just like Kirby, he was a rookie last year.
Yep.
Okay.
And this is his second year in the league, and he's getting a little bit more established. So AB stands for at bats.
Okay.
That's the amount of time you come up to the plate to hit.
That's the amount of time you're walking out, you're tapping your boots.
They
you're-
play your walk-up music.
Yeah.
hmm If you're home, R is runs, and this is offensive stats, so that's runs you've created. You see Cal Raleigh picked
And
up
that
2
can
runs.
be a hit that facilitates somebody else's run.
No,
Yes.
it's you. Run is you.
Yeah.
RBI is run you
You-
occur. It
you
could be
batted
It
you
stands for
in.
run batted in.
Yeah. Okay.
Run batted in. It could be you or Pal of yours, one of those 8 other players on your team in the field.
So Big Dumper only
Dumper.
was responsible for himself crossing
Who's-
home
who's
plate
Big
in this
Dumper?
game.
We're
Cal
talking
Raleigh.
Rod-
Cal Raleigh
Raleigh.
is Big Dumper.
His nickname is Big
Because
Dumper.
he's got a fat ass.
I mean, that's funny.
Yeah. H still stands for hits.
Okay.
BB stands for base on balls, walks.
That means you got walked.
K
Okay.
means strikeout still. Average. And then OPS is
On
not on pitch percentage. Where is
it's
it?
it's another saber metric that's on
Yeah.
base percentage.
Oh,
plus,
OPS adds on base percentage plus slugging percentage to
Yeah.
get one number that unites the two. It's a combine of how well a hitter can reach the base and how well he can hit for average and for power. That's beyond me. That's a sabermetrics that I don't give two flying F's.
Basically,
That's
Yeah.
just another like. I feel like we're getting into like gun nut lore, where it's
We're
just kind
getting-
of like, yeah, no, this is the temperature of the pellets
If I'm-
burning in the
yeah.
cartridge. Like,
if I'm not mistaken, I think OPS combines like home runs plus times you got on base.
It creates every base as a number. First being 1,
Yeah.
second being 2,
A home run
third
being 4.
and you add up all those numbers. You take your fucking how many farts you had.
How
that
many
day,
out Betty? How
and
many
somebody
at-bats
somebody
you've had.
somehow looked at baseball and went like, oh, I got an algorithm that'll make this more complicated.
Someone wanted-
And
you
it-
have to look at a whole separate
Well,
set
ju-
of tables just
the
to
thing about
understand
stats
this.
like this is that it creates a story for things you can't say with your mouth. Like you can't actually facilitate with words. That these average comes up because it's to say like, yeah, I mean, the guy is just like he feels like he's always hitting the ball, putting it in play. And now you have average to tell you like, well, yeah, I mean, I guess it's like every quarter of the time he's up there. Oh, every third of the time he comes up with a base hit. And when it comes to pitching, it's like it seems like he's never given up runs, or he's always giving up runs. Like, how can we have this conversation about what a certain type of player and what you're looking for? And so they use these numbers, they use all the stats because everything is calculated in baseball, and can create stories for players that are super unsung in any kind of way that a Wheaties box can tell you or a Hall of Fame
yeah.
can tell you. It's like, yeah, man, that's the joke of fucking the Moneyball. It's the screenshot of Jonah Hill saying, hey, this is Jose Caballero. You know, he's really slow, but he can put the ball into play 1,000 times per at bat. And you're like, okay. It's these stats, showing these stats with what your eyes can't see. It's what numbers tell you. And if the numbers tell you a lot of things. So just to briefly go over offensive stats for the season,
Okay.
ABs are at bats.
Okay.
G is
H
game
hits.
played.
TB is TB is triples. Is that no? That's 3B is total bases. Total bases. So
Okay.
he's touched 260 total bases. That's including home runs, count for 4,
And steals.
and steals. So
'Cause
He
might have-
touched a base and he's safe.
He may
gets
have
that.
only hit a single, but he also stole second, so he has 2 total bases, technically for that at bat.
2B is doubles, 3B is triples, HR is home runs,
Okay.
RBI is 75. RBI is his runs batted in. How many times he's gotten somebody across the plate with his bat.
Base on ball.
Walks. IBB, intentional base on balls, when they said we're not going to throw to you. 'cause
Oh
you're gonna
yeah,
hit the
no,
ball."
no, no.
You know
I've
about
seen
the
this in
intentional walk.
baseball where they're just kind of like, we're just throwing it
Yeah, up
5
until-
feet out of the
yeah.
box.
Until about, what was it, like 5, 6,
Yeah.
7 years ago?
They took that away.
You actually had to throw 4 pitches to intentionally walk a guy. Now they can just somewhat like indicate to the umpire, like,
Yeah.
hey,
We're gonna put
I'm
him
going
on
to throw
base.
one symbolic ball and then just send that guy to first because I was going to do it 3 more times.
I mean, that's a good way to speed up baseball if that's your
Yeah,
strategy.
but it doesn't go to the pitcher's pitch count, which is what's shitty.
Oh,
the pitcher's
'cause,
pitch
yeah.
count is what quantifies how long they're going to be in the game. And
Now
if
you're taking away 3 basically
Yeah.
Yes.
failed pitches out of the
Exactly.
pool to make
Mhm.
everybody look a little bit better.
It gets that
juices the stats a little
it
bit.
gets that pitch it count down. It doesn't. Your whip is effectively the same,
Yeah.
but your pitch count goes a little bit lower.
And you're sacrificing 3 pitches per batter for this stake of knowing that they're not going to hit a home run. Anyway, SO is strikeouts,
I mean,
not K.
I mean, and also I'm taking all these for like your at bats in essence. Yes, games matter, but just sort of like, hey, if you're getting 145 strikeouts out of 511 at bats, like that's
Not bad.
too bad.
It's not
Not bad.
Same with going from home runs in 2022 to like third base hits, where it's just kind of like, oh no, you're belting them out of the park.
Yeah.
You weren't almost getting there, and like, well, you got to third.
And with the thing about it, SB is more correlated with the triple than home runs are. Home run is like, it's out of the park. There's no way they can't bring it back in
No.
to catch you. But your speed matters on a triple. If you're
Yeah.
able to look at something that should be a safe second double, and you're able to turn it into a triple, you're relying also on the team to throw the ball a little wide, to not throw it on time, to maybe struggle with the pressure of, oh, he's going to third, I got to throw it.
In almost every triple hit, there's been a mistake from the team that's needs to catch
Yeah.
the ball and get
Yeah.
it to third base.
Yeah.
SB stolen bases, caught stealing 7. You can see that. That's when
Yep.
they figured it out.
Yep.
Average 284. So batting 284 is a really solid player. Batting over 300 is a good player with a good contract.
You're
No
Ichiro
one's batted-
Suzuki in 2001.
No one's batted 400 in baseball since Ted Williams, who fought in World War II.
Okay.
Over the course of a season.
Yeah.
Using these same metrics.
Using the same
182
metrics.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So then what we have next and what matters is the next slide. Okay.
Oh, wow.
This is my scale of rarity in baseball. Not mine. I found this on the internet. And
Okay,
even
okay.
The less rare is still a pretty effing rare thing to occur.
No, you're going. Are the numbers associated with like
How
two
many have
two
occurred?
grand slam? How many have occurred over the over 100 years history of baseball?
Yeah.
100 plus, 100 and
Yeah.
some odd at this point. 150 something
Game's been
plus?
on for over
Okay.
150
Of years.
So we have your unicorns up here with like
Absolute unicorn, 2 grand slams in an inning, which is what I'm going to definitely do.
what's giddy ups in a game?
For
Get
ground into double plays. Okay, I didn't want to get into that. But so if there's a batter on first, right,
Yeah.
and you hit the ball into play, that team can score 2 outs on that, right? They can get the next
Yeah,
runner,
yeah,
and then
yeah, yeah.
if you haven't gotten to first in time, they can get you out as well, right?
Also, there's a criteria that the ball has to hit the ground before it gets to a guy.
Yes, it's
who
not.
can
It's
throw
not.
it to
It's not a
first.
pop fly that you're
Not-
throwing in. It's a
Yeah.
grounded ball.
This one specifically grounded into a double. A double play specifically, you can get a
It's
pop fly
baseball.
out.
I mean, I'll
There's-
take it if like whoever's
there's-
wearing 4 people are wearing a chicken hat when somebody hits it to the left
If
field
someone's
on a
eating a hot
Sunday.
dog
It's a
on the
metric.
field.
It's a saber
It's a
metric.
Yeah.
Chicken hat, hot dog metrics.
3 hits in an inning. And so all these stats speak to a whole other picture of the game. Grounding into 4 double plays means that you have been in a position, you've been up 4 times at least.
In
and
a
then
game.
There's been someone
Oh.
on first base or second base or third base, and you've grounded into a double play 4 times you've come up to bat in that
That
game.
is an unlucky stat.
And
Here
it's
I
a
was,
very
I
unlucky
was
stat.
viewing it from defensive
Positivity.
side.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Also, to interject, just as the Captain Obvious stat nerd, you're only guaranteed 3 at bats.
It's
a
a part of
game.
the
So you
27
got an
outs.
extra at bat.
yeah.
So then 3 hits in an inning, that can speak to how many times your team has come up in a single inning.
That's
And
a very
you're
much so a
guaran-
team stat.
Yeah.
You're guaranteed the 1 at bat that inning, or three at bats for your team.
How
that
many players have to go through
exactly.
All the pitches. 9. So you have nine people that could potentially be at bat, and you've gone up 3 times.
Yes.
At this point, by the time you step up to bat, the pitcher has either allowed a hit or walked, or hit by a pitch, or there was an error for 27 dudes.
Yep.
At that point.
Well, and
Well,
three,
no, no,
and,
no, no,
and 2 of them being
It
you
would
at
be
some
19.
point in time.
In the most
Yeah.
perfect scenario, you're the first batter up. You are then the 10th batter up, and then you are then the
19th.
19th batter up. So it would be 19, and you've gotten a hit every single time.
Yeah.
That's an
So
accomplishment
19
itself.
not including you, 27 including you 2 times.
Okay. Then
So-
we have Grand Slam at a first career at
That's
bat.
what.
That
That's
actually went up just the other day.
somebody's first at bat.
first at bat hit a
In
Grand
their
Slam.
professional career.
Yeah.
I mean that.
And you know what a Grand Slam is, right?
Yes,
Everyone's
yeah,
on
yeah,
base.
yeah. There's 3 people on base. You hit a home run. You're getting 4 runs, not points.
Not points, runs.
I mean, there
4
are
widgets.
arguably there's been 235,500 plus games played. There has been, if I had to guess, north of 2 million first time at bats in professional baseball.
20,000 players. Of all
20
time.
all time
Of
have
all
played
time
the game.
have played the
Okay.
game. Yeah, it's an incredibly low stat, which has just come up recently. That if you took every player that's ever played in Major League Baseball and put them in a stadium, it would be at half capacity, maybe.
In Seattle, yeah, it'd be less than half capacity.
Yeah.
T-Mobile's 45,000 at a somewhat upper mid-size baseball stadium.
Yeah,
There
feels
are
like
bigger.
such a low
There's a
number.
lot of
it's,
bigger
su-
stadiums.
it's such a low number, is it not?
It feels so ridiculously low compared to like not even if you told me there was 50 years of baseball.
Uh huh.
Because I feel like they got it's a sport with you got 37 billion people on your team.
Dude, and then
You have
Yes,
a
exactly.
Brazilian people.
You have a Brazilian
Many
people on your team,
yeah.
and then you have like so many minor leagues going on. That how have there
This
not been
can't.
more
This
players?
can't. That has to be majors.
No, it's majors. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not including minors whatsoever.
I assume it would be you'd be looking at a couple 100,000 if
You'd be
it's
looking at
minors.
millions
Yeah.
if you included minor league players and players all time.
So one we've covered before is the 4 home run game. The 18 guys have done that.
Yeah.
Home run on first career pitch, 31. Immaculate ending. That's when a pitcher goes up and throws 9 strikes. All of them are strikeouts.
Oh, and
Strike,
just
strike,
that,
strike.
just,
Just
just
strike,
that
strike,
inning,
strike.
it's oops all. I threw 9
No
strikes.
balls,
Yeah.
no,
No-
fouls.
no
you
fouls
just.
count. Fouls
Fouls count.
I
Yeah.
guess for the first 2, the fouls
Right, right.
count.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
But
still have to
it's-
get a
the
legit strike
criteria
on the
is
third.
9
Oh,
pitches.
if they were to foul 2 times and then foul a third time, and you're throwing your
You
4th
fucked
pitch,
your immaculate
Yeah,
inning.
you don't get your
Yeah.
immaculate
But if they
inning.
foul twice and then
And
you
they
just
throw a
whiff it on
strike.
that third one,
Yep. Okay.
it's
It
immaculate
counts,
ending.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Home run on first career at bat. Inside the park, grand slam. That's an impressive one. The no hitter, 318. And like, look at how many games have been played. 235,000. 318 of them have been no hitters. That's the second to last one.
Yeah. It's astronomically small, but at the same time, you just kind of look at it and go like, yeah, I don't know, somebody like me, 318 sounds about right.
Yeah.
I'm still ogling the 2 grand slams in an inning. What
I'm
was
gonna-
that? Like a
I'm gonna
Mickey
fucking-
Mantle?
No.
I'm personally fascinated by the unassisted triple play.
That was
stat.
beautiful, dude.
Yeah.
Well, that's beautiful, dude. That happened again recently with the Mets. I think like this year or the year before.
So you're not throwing the ball.
Nope.
You are getting somebody out. You know,
Mhm.
on their way from second to third, you're getting somebody out on their way to
from
first, second, and you're throwing to first and getting that guy who just.
Well, no,
hit
you're not
it.
throwing to anybody else. It's
Oh yeah, you can't throw.
You touch every single out. You make so. Here's how it typically happens. The ball is
What?
popped up to second base.
Yeah.
It's caught, so that's an out. He tags the runner that is leaving second to go to third, and then is able to tag the person coming from first to second. That's
Okay.
how usually an unassisted triple play happens.
That's less distance to cover, but still astronomical.
Okay, insane. Everything has to happen just correctly, just to set up a possibility for you to even make,
But
just make
15,
that happen.
15 is wild.
Yeah, isn't that?
If it was like, if it, it's
In
yeah.
almost 250,000 played, it seems about appropriate statistics wise. But it's still just an insane thing that like 15 people can claim that. Like you can cover bar seating at a bar. Like the amount of people that have done an unassisted triple up play in the
That's
almost
a bad night at a show.
170
actually. Coming from the music
years.
perspective, if only 15 people showed up,
That's
to my,
that's
my,
fucked,
my
man.
show, it's
No,
bad.
like you go to a bar, it's just people sitting belly to the bar that have done an unassisted triple play. The rest of the bar is empty. Like
So then the last one is hitting for the cycle. That
What
is
is
a
that?
batting stat where you have completed all 5 options of hitting.
Oh, you've done
Home
I've-
run.
I've
You've
done
got a single,
a single, double, a
triple,
triple,
and a
home
home
run,
Yeah, 4.
grand
It's-
slam.
No, sorry, it's just 4.
it's just 4.
It's just 4.
They-
you don't have to hit a grand
You
slam
don't have to hit a
for
grand
the
slam.
cycle.
What
That
the-
would be
what
insane.
what they didn't want to
That's-
they
it's
didn't
like
want a
the-
metric that had 0 players that got
Well,
it.
it hasn't been found yet. Yeah, we'll
Someone
get
just
there.
hasn't given a name to it, but I'm sure there's
That
maybe
he
or
got?
nobody's done it yet.
Then there is a subcategory of that, natural hitting for the cycle, a natural cycle where you do it first. Your first hit is a single.
Oh,
a
you
second
you
is
you
a
roll
double.
you have
You roll a
a
fucking
straight.
Yahtzee.
Yeah,
you want a goddamn Yahtzee.
You have a straight in your hand where
Yeah.
you just
Yeah.
do first, second, triple.
And then
You
you
hit
hit
a
a home
single,
run
a
to top it
double,
off.
a triple, and then you cap it off with a home.
Is that the one that's covered up? I see there's a G or a Q or a
Whoa. There might be something. like
Why?
that.
I don't know. There's
I guess that's a really good leading into, even though I wanted to leave the anecdote of like Mariner legend Jay Buhner finish his cycle on a triple, which is the hardest way to do it, is you have to hit the
Oh.
triple on the last bat. But yes, there is a missing piece here on this slide. And we'll go to the next slide, please. The perfect game. This is something 27 men have done in the history of the baseball game. Right in the middle of the road, of rarity to most rare. And these are three of note. I mean, I just wanted to pick slides.
Three
The one
examples.
The one I definitely wanted to bring was Trailer Park Trash / photographer / bird killer Randy Johnson. So Randy Johnson on the right had done a perfect game. Where was
What
it?
is a perfect game then?
Oh.
if we discuss like an immaculate inning, is
Yeah.
it that for the game? Is it
That
is
would be
it
an
a-
immaculate game, which it has not happened.
Zach,
We've briefly talked about
Could,
this before.
could I be the dumb guy, the middling
I'm
dumb
sorry.
guy
Yeah,
of this podcast and explain what a perfect game is?
go for it. Give a perfect game.
Yeah.
So a perfect game is you pitched all 9 innings as the pitcher.
Okay.
You pitched 27,
you-
27 batters came up in
Yep.
front of you, and 27 batters went down, either through walkout or being put out in some way, shape, or form. They either grounded out, flew out,
Yep.
Struck
or something, or
They
struck
never
out.
got on base.
Nobody. The
They-
first baseman was so fucking lonely.
A
that
no,
day.
But-
a no hitter is
but a-
where they don't get on base.
No.
Oh,
you can walk
through
a,
a hit.
You can walk a.
You can walk a guy in a no hitter.
You can walk. You can
But
hit
you
a guy in a
can't-
In a
you
perfect
can't
game,
get-
you cannot walk a guy. You
Okay.
cannot hit by pitch.
Yeah.
In a
Okay.
perfect game.
Okay.
No.
It-
No
You can't
error.
have an
either.
error.
You can't have an error.
So you can get a no hitter
Ooh,
even if
I didn't even think about
someone
error on
fucked
this
up
one.
and got an error,
Yeah.
and it doesn't get count against you. You can still get a no hitter even though a guy got on first base through a hit.
Yeah, but you won't get.
You
the
can
perfect
also
game.
get a no hitter if you walked as many
But in-
batters as you possibly want.
teacher.
Yes, sir.
A no hitter is different from a perfect game.
It is.
Absolutely.
I'm
All-
trying to find
Ryan-
it.
Ryan-
I feel like I
Ryan-
understand a no hitter, but I am trying to find where that dividing line
All
is.
perfect games are no hitters.
Yes.
But
But
a
not
but
all
no hitter is
no
not a
hitters.
perfect
it's,
game.
it's like the runs and the other thing where it's like, okay,
Doc Ellis threw a no hitter.
Yeah.
yeah,
He
you
walked
walked
a
a bunch
guy
of dudes.
on the game that he
Yeah.
was on acid.
gotcha.
He
gotcha,
walked
gotcha,
a lot
gotcha.
of guys that game.
I see. The
He hit
dividing
by
line.
pitch a few guys that game.
Well, anyone would.
It wasn't a perfect game. It was just a no hitter.
If you're balls deep in acid, and you're having a fucking
If
wild
you're on
game
your
going
second
on.
acid trip in 48 hours, yeah.
Like your pitches are gonna get wonky, and sometimes you just being a guy, and you know what?
So what I may have failed to establish before we got to the perfect game was the system of a pitcher. A pitcher there's a starting pitcher, a middle reliever, and then a closer.
Yeah.
The closer comes in to be the man that slams the door on the game.
Yeah.
And so,
Hopefully
and
when you're winning too.
really in the modern game of baseball, there are more than one reliever.
Oh yeah. Well, there's the middle reliever.
You rotate your relievers.
There's
in
the
sort of a way.
starter. There's 1 to potentially 3 relievers and a closer as your usual
Yes.
like
So-
everyday MLB game.
So does it come down to coaching staff for like, hey, they've got a perfect game going on,
the manager,
but we are gonna
the manager
pull 'em.
makes the decision
We're-
on whether
we're-
a pitcher stays on the mound or goes back to the dugout.
Absolutely.
Like
And
even
they're-
though they've been doing immaculately, like
You could pull a perfect
you know,
picture.
You
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
it's sixth
And-
inning. We're gonna get you out. We're
Yeah.
gonna get
it,
you out.
it
before
has
you
happened
fail.
early in the season of last year, or the year before. Clayton Kershaw was throwing a perfect game in 7 innings, and his coach pulled him.
Oh
and,
damn!
And
So it becomes a big what if.
always.
It's absolutely that for the rest of the season that gets debated
Yeah.
on the forums, on the sports talk shows. Whenever they don't have something to talk about, they'll go right back to that fucking shit.
So, what happens with the starting pitcher, as we saw with the
Yeah.
stat of George Kirby, he went 5 innings that game.
Yeah.
Par
That's
for
a
the
good.
course.
That's a quality start.
It's
That's
a lot of
different
work.
Stat.
It's a lot of work to go 5 innings.
That's
And
a different. That's a different stat called QS, which stands for quality starts.
Yes.
Which is another saber metric.
Oh my god.
So, what happens with the pitcher is you want your pitcher to go no more than 90 pitches.
Yeah.
100 pitches is pushing it if they're on fire and they're about to catch heat.
Or they're
you're gonna go for
proven
100.
they just have a good
Some-
amount of stamina or
Some can go
longevity.
120.
Yeah.
Some can
Yeah.
do a great deal. Nolan Ryan used to throw 130, 150 pitches, but it's not.
I
the
think
same
Randy
game.
But they're-
Johnson was a regular 100-plus pitcher game.
He was.
game.
But even then, I can assume most pitchers on most nights can't do that. Like there are certain exceptions,
absolutely-
nights and people where it's just kind of like, well, and they're going long.
As-
Somebody who can only do about 75 does.
As the journeyman
110.
baseball fan here, I would say that's a bit subjective. There is a lot of, particularly as the game of baseball continues to develop and more relievers are being used, and it's less about who your starting pitcher is finishing out the game as who started the game. I would say as the decades have spanned on, there's a lot more guys who are doing really good as a starting pitcher or could be getting a quality start, but they just get pulled because their pitch count is at that magic number that you then go throw in a reliever nowadays.
Where you don't want the guy to get hurt because
Exactly.
one, if they're doing that, they're fucking fired. So you don't want them to get hurt.
or you're just
by,
or you're fucked.
Yeah.
Like they're not always fired if they're injured. It's just like you're fucked. If
oh yeah, no,
if
there
the
goes
good-
your
if
season.
the really
There
good
goes
guy
2
gets hurt.
season. Yeah.
So what makes a perfect game, special, is that not a lot of pitchers can go that full 27 outs.
and it's
Not a
harder
lot of
now
people.
than
Oh,
it
yeah.
was 20 years ago.
There's a lot more fouling that occurs, and now the pitch clock makes it so you can't have those extra long rests in between pitches.
Do you have numbers? Do you have numbers for like the Randy Johnson season? For like how many or like
How many
this
pitches
this
he threw?
game? How many pitches in this game?
No, I didn't grab his stat.
Or-
line of
or
that, 'cause
any
this
of
was
the-
a-
we don't-
this was
we
an
don't have
intro
Randy
of
Johnson's.
perfect.
We
even
might
even
have someone
cigarettes
else's.
McKenzie over here on the
that-
far left.
Even worse, it's Don Larson.
Well, close
This-
enough.
that photo was taken in 1956.
And he probably threw a perfect game on 195 pitches in
Something
this
like-
one.
No.
And
He
at
was
the
under.
time this was
he
taken.
was under 100. I want to say.
Was he?
I want to say he
Holy
was under
shit.
100. All
Wow.
of these, all 3 of these were under like 110. I want to
You-
say.
Oh wow.
There
okay.
is a gradient though, where like if you're in black and white, it doesn't matter if you're throwing a perfect game or not. You're expected to go out.
announced like this.
You're just expected to go throw 9 innings because you're the starting pitcher,
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter if it takes 350 fucking pitches.
I don't give a shit if you have to deliver the paper
And then
tomorrow
you'll go
or
have
work
to,
on the docks
and then
or
you'll
some
go
shit
have
like
to
that.
go do it the next night.
And that's the thing. That's what makes it extra hard in this black and white grainy.
Yeah.
Like, smoke a cigarette, hug your catcher.
But even that, this was 1954, and he was
Yeah.
probably the 3rd or 4th perfect game in history. So then you have middle is Mark Go Home Early Burley. This guy used to pitch super fast.
Oh, is that what
His
the name
games-
is? Burley.
Burley,
Is that a White Sox or a Colorado Rocky? I
White
can't really
Sox.
tell. Okay,
White
okay.
Sox. Remember this.
Put a pin in that.
Remember this. Put a pin in that.
I'm getting
So-
the red yarn, Taylor. Don't you worry.
So if perfect, you guys are doing great on these segues to the next one, to the next slide. That's a Chicago White Sox. I want to talk about a perfect game by a Chicago White Sox. That's this guy. That's Philip Humber. Philip Humber.
Humber.
Humber, number 41 for the Chicago White Sox. So the baseball season begins April 1st every year, maybe the 31st of March, but begins usually at the beginning of April.
Around, yeah.
This photo was taken April 21st. 2012, and that's when Philip Humber came to Seattle and pitched a perfect game against the Seattle Mariners. All right.
Oh.
He joined this list of 24 at the time men to have pitched a perfect game. So what I put up here is the stat line of the Seattle Mariners.
That's
This
the
is-
whole day. That's the whole
This
game.
is the whole game. We already saw this one with the Seattle Mariners earlier in the slideshow. We're looking at everyone had 3 at bats, and then right down here, Miguel Olivo was subbed out for John Jaso. PH means pinch hit. So when he came up to bat, he got 1 at bat. It resulted in nothing. Minoris Kawasaki had 2 at bats. He was subbed out for Brendan Ryan. Pinch hit, resulted in nothing.
Pinch hit means...
Well, he got a significant other though. He got an SO.
He did have he has 0 SOs.
He never got
he
struck
did,
out.
He did SO, yeah.
What is that?
There's several
What is SO?
strikeout.
Strikeout.
Oh, strikeout.
It's the offensive. K is the defensive.
Yeah.
SO is the offensive. It's stupid. So, but looking at how early in the season this was, 20 games, 20 days, not even 20 games. I think there was 15 games. The batting averages were really low. Miguel
Oh.
Olivo, your starting catcher, came
early
up
season.
really early season.
Okay.
No one's getting off to a hot start.
And this doesn't help.
Not good. Not good. Gotta say.
When you get no hits, no runs.
So Philip Humber,
Yeah.
previous to April 21st of 2012, he had never pitched a complete game before in his life. He'd never gone 9 innings in the professional career and done that whatsoever.
Oh,
So the one time he did it,
he's an average Joe. That just his first time he got 9 innings. Look at him. He looks so boring.
this would be the second start of his career, I want to say. Oh, second start of the season. His first start, he touted a 5.1 innings, so he got into the 6th inning with only giving up 1 run.
Okay.
So coming into this game, he had quite a low earned run average.
I also do want to point out something that's captured in this picture that is so weird to me as just an overall sports fan, is how disrespectful this may or may not be perceived as. And because this is this is in Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy just fucking dunked on the Seattle Mariners
yeah.
so hard. He dunks, the backboard shatters, and some guy
No,
on
no,
the
no.
Mariners gets
Is this
nuts
something-
wrapped.
Everyone has
Is this
has been
something
panned.
where-
Someone gets nuts fucking grinded in their face as
yeah.
the dude who dunked on him falls back to earth.
But can everyone cheer at a perfect game?
Yes.
That's the thing.
That's the
about
beautiful thing about baseball.
baseball and like sports fandom hatred is the thing where like baseball quite possibly is the most like just stat focused fan base that like you'll root for the other team if something incredibly rare is happening.
Ryan, 2 years ago, I was at no hitter in Seattle. The Mariners were getting no hit,
Oh damn.
and it happened. It completed, and I was standing up and I
The
was cheering
whole
that man.
stadium,
The whole stadium
was
does
likely
that.
cheering this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're,
'cause
you're
the
in the
respect of
land
the
of the
game.
enemy. But there's just so many people who are into the stats of the game
Yeah.
and the game itself
It's
and like
just,
the moment.
It's the love of the game.
Dare I say the true game of baseball?
It's
If you had a-
it's the love of the
It's
game.
the love of the game.
To like somewhat contrast this, if you have a quarterback who throws a 183.3 perfect QBR game
Yeah.
in Philadelphia against the Eagles, he's getting batteries fucking whipped
Yeah.
in his head, and his wife and children are getting death threats in their email.
Well, yeah. Philadelphia is a special case, though.
I'm just saying, football is a much more brutal sport than
Yeah.
baseball, regardless of what Philly fans like to say about the Phillies.
So briefly to go over this game, Chicago was 8-6 entering the game. Seattle was 7-9. So within 1.5 games of each other, and
And in a time in the season where your overall record doesn't really
doesn't
matter,
mean anything.
over the course of 182
You're just trying to build a
games.
safety net if you can. In
If
that
you
early,
can.
Yeah.
In
You're
the-
just trying to hit a groove, really. Everyone's just looking for their groove.
In the second inning, Paul Konerko opened up the scoring with a solo home run, his second of the year, against Blake Bevan, pitcher for the Mariners. The third, the White Sox scored 2 more runs, and then in
RBIs.
the ninth, as if to give one
Salt?
one
They
more,
broke
like,
a thermometer in the
hey,
wound.
in my opinion, I want to look at it as like we support our pitcher. That's our captain out there. That's my guy. So they scored 1 more run, And then Seattle, ended up doing jack shit. That stat line down there is 27-0-0-0-0.
I mean, there ain't nothing special about Seattle Bats doing jack shit. What just matters is who was the guy on the mound the whole time, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So another fun stat, just some interesting information about this. Numerical, how things work out. It being 21 days into the season, Humbert became the 21st player to throw a perfect game.
Oh, that's fun.
And he struck out nine dudes. That's pretty cool.
Did he have the earliest perfect game in a season? Is
I
that a
don't think
metric that you know?
It's not a metric off the top of my head, but that's
That's
a good question.
It may be the earliest in like an overall like that season's baseball season. Perfect
Possibly
game ever
or
thrown.
earliest appearances in the mound. Because if you said, he only had like one other start
In the
whatever.
season.
In
the season, it was the second start of the season.
But he's played probably like 3 or 4 seasons before
previous,
this.
yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if this was somebody where it was like their
His
second
appearance
year,
in the game, or
like
something
it's
that.
like its 5th appearance,
Yeah.
sort of.
For
a deal.
Ryan and
That
our,
would be
our
interesting.
listeners at home, if you're a starting pitcher in the MLB for a couple decades now, you're usually pitching once every 5 games.
True,
Gotcha. I know football better than baseball. It's your
Sure.
backup
We'll
quarterback.
do a football story
It's your
sometime.
third string backup
it's as
quarterback.
if Geno Smith was replaced by Drew Lock every 5 games of the Seahawks season.
Yeah.
So at a third of the season's just the backup shows up.
Yeah.
And plays that game.
You spend time with the team before they throw you in. Or you start as a closer and then work your way up to a
Well, there's
starter,
there's
I
a
assume.
pitching
Well,
rotation.
and how good your arm strength can be. But yes, there's a pitching rotation that occurs. There's a 5-man bullpen and then 5 men in the starting rotation. So every 5 games, it's not usually days.
Game legally 5 men? Like you need it like you can't have a 6th like reserve pitcher.
No.
You
I-
can't, you
that
can't
definitely
be,
happens.
That
in
definitely
baseball.
happens in baseball because, in fact, what I do in MLB The Show is I get my minor league starter pitchers, put them in my bullpen, and then rotate them in every now and then. So, but yes, you can have a 7-man rotation, but you can only have so many roster spots.
Fuck, you could have a 15-man rotation.
You could secretly be training like some shortstop, like, and then
That's the beauty
you're
of
my
base-
secret pitcher.
Ryan, it wasn't until this year they said that players have to be in a certain position when the ball is pitched. They used to have you could have your whole team on one side of the baseball diamond just to make sure that someone catches the damn ball.
Every guy could be standing around third base other than the pitcher if you wanted to.
So there's so many loopholes in
put a
baseball
kibosh in that?
on the shift. Yes, the sabermetrics telling you where a player's going to hit the ball 99% of the time.
You could
put all your
8
fucking
you could
players
put
over there, huh?
8 of your 9 defensive players around third
Whoa.
base. If you just know the 100% of the time the guy hits the ball, he hits it right to third base.
Yeah.
This all started with the Tiger Electronics ball that could rate how fast you throw it.
Yeah,
and
that's-
with the little
the small
LCD
small
screen.
domino.
And now the internet has ruined baseball.
Yes, exactly.
And somewhere in the line, Walt Disney bought a team to somewhat connect all of the dots of our podcast, and Toyota's in there somewhere.
Toyota is what drives us. It's what
This
what
game
drives us.
played on Toyotathon.
Yeah.
Wow.
World Series and Toyotathons do tend to coincide with one another.
So after his second game, where he pitched a perfect game, Humber left Seattle with a .63 ERA, meaning that's like somewhere around 18 innings. He would give up 1 run. And although this accomplishment is magnificent in feat, only 21 men had done it, so that's pretty interesting. He would end his season with a 12-14 record. He would lose 14 games, giving up more runs before he was taken out than his team was able to score.
He lost more games than he would win.
And his ERA ended up being 6.44. So over 9 innings, he would give up 6 runs.
Every time that you opened up the newspaper or went to like your local news affiliate's website sports section, and that guy was the starting pitcher that day, you could generally think that guy's going to give up 6, almost 7.
Every
runs.
dog has his day, but the stats don't lie on that. The perfect game would be his only complete game for his whole career. That would be the only time he goes into the 9th
And
inning.
every
That's
perfect game
wonderful.
is a
That's-
complete game.
Really magical.
That's kind of magical for a very mediocre player. Where like the
Uh,
only game you go all the way is you fucking went all the way,
Against
like
a
you did
less
it.
than
I don't go all the
mediocre
way,
team.
but when I do.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
The 2012 season would be his last with Chicago and his second to last season in the league completely. And he only played for 7 years. he
which
would
isn't
walk.
all that long of a baseball career.
It's
No.
not.
It's an
not-
insanely
not
that's
that
a
good.
super successful NFL or even NBA career. But for baseball, that's about like goddamn like center of the line.
So he would walk the most batters of his career in this season, the season that he got the perfect game. And I mean, having one
Just
game
not
as a
that day.
mulligan for the stat is pretty good. He would give up the most career runs of his career, the most runs of his career in that season, but not on that day. Exactly. But this episode is not about Philip Humber. All right, it's about the last perfect man. You know, fucking
Technically.
King Felix, dude.
For real?
Felix Hernandez.
It's a
dude.
Mariners episode?
It's a Mariners episode. I can't do baseball without a Mariner being here. I guess the fight in Baltimore was the one when the Mariners appeared in the Cal Ripken episode.
I mean, they always appear, but usually they're the focus, other than Cal.
So, Felix Abraham Hernandez Garcia was born April 8th, 1986 in Valencia, Venezuela.
Just like the Oranges.
Yeah, just like the Oranges. He was pitching at a tournament in Maracaibo, Venezuela, when the Mariners scout Luis Fenmayer spotted a 14 years old, tossing 90-mile-per-hour heat. At
Which
a
is
game.
buck fucking wild.
Well, I mean, I mean,
But
like
fucking wild, dude. It's fucking nuts.
the fact that we're getting this stat means that like he saw this kid throwing some fire and he's like, I'm gonna go get my gun
We
real
need to
quick.
make
I'm gonna
yeah,
go get
yeah,
my
hey,
radar
hey,
gun.
let me go.
Well, let me go get my radar
me
gun.
buy-
Hey,
this is-
when's the next time you guys are playing? Like,
This is the John Hamm movie, like $1 Million Arm.
yeah.
Hey, yeah, it's like, hang on, I gotta make a Disney movie about this moment right now. I found this Venezuelan kid throwing 120 billion miles per hour.
Which I
Can
know-
we
At
sign this
14
kid?
years old.
Well, I know baseball is super big in like Central America, and I
Yes.
assume South America
Yes.
as well as Asia.
All
you
the
know.
Latin countries.
It's
yeah,
pretty
Yeah.
tremendous
fucking
in
huge.
several countries that are not America. It's
Yes.
not it's not a worldwide game like a soccer.
Yeah, it's debatable, dude. There's a lot, the World Baseball Classic was kind of like a FIBA.
I would argue in terms of world games, you go soccer,
It's
basketball.
not the top world game.
You go
Yeah,
soccer,
yeah.
then basketball, then baseball.
So the Mariners couldn't sign him at 14. I don't know if you guys know that. Even Venezuela has these rules.
There's
saying
labor
you can't
laws.
do that.
Labor laws
Oh.
exist.
But
Yeah,
they
okay.
could sign him when he was 16, and they did so. So at 16,
A futures
he
contract.
had looks from the Yankees and the Braves, but
Oh.
he wanted to sign with the Mariners because of the last man that wore number 34 for the Mariners. Freddie Garcia was also a Venezuelan, and he wanted to follow in the footsteps of his hero, Freddie Garcia.
That snake fucking kisses us and it bites us as well.
So in 2002, he signed a $710,000 non-drafted free agent contract with the Mariners. And in 2003, he would start in Everett, Class A baseball. So at this
the
point,
Aqua Sox?
At the Aqua Sox.
At Memorial Stadium off of fucking Broadway
Yeah,
in
dog.
Everett.
In his first year, in Seattle or in Everett, he would put up a 7-2 record, 2 losses. That's incredible. And then returned to Venezuela to participate in the Winter League at the age of 17. And he was pitching at this league.
He's still in
event,
high
too.
school. Like he has to go
Yes.
to history
I got
class.
history
Is this
He has
guy
to go
an
to
anime
biology.
protagonist? Because
Yes.
he's coming to a foreign country, fucking kicking ass, and then it's like, oh, winter's coming, so I got to go back down to
I have
my
to go
home.
to school.
I have to go to school, and I got to go to my,
I don't know if you guys know this about Nikola Jokic, the center for the Dallas Mavericks, 2-time MVP of the NBA. He's just from like Serbia or something like that. He won the championship for the first time in like Denver in his career. And they're like, "Oh, are you excited for the parade?" He's like, "When's the parade?" "Oh, it's Thursday." "No, I have to go home. I have to go feed my horses." And he's like, he's literally doesn't give a hell about.
Joker, yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a hell about basketball whatsoever. He's just really effing good at it.
He's
He's
like
he wants to be
Serbian
back.
Larry Bird.
It's
Yeah.
insane. That though he's like, I don't care about.
But
this
Felix
parade.
Hernandez is a superhero in his own way. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, if you're playing year round, from what it sounds like, you're not
Yes.
giving your arm to rest. Because, I mean, you don't necessarily need that when you're 17. But
I
at the
mean-
same time, if you're an up-and-coming star,
you're
you're
living on
gonna
piss and
want
vinegar, dude.
you're gonna want that rest.
Yeah.
I
So,
would say
like,
in these farm leagues, he wasn't starting every single game. There was a rotation. he was taking some rest. It wasn't as like infrequent as once every 5 games, but there was like they build the feeder league to like
Oh,
somewhat build up to
I mean, absolutely.
what the
Speaking
pros do.
about the management, but of the man loves baseball enough to where it's like, fuck it, I'm gonna keep playing. We have a Brazilian.
We have a Brazilian amount of people behind it.
We have a Brazilian fans
for a Venezuelan man
for
saying something there.
But all holding case, all in support.
Yeah, this is a King's Court, Ryan.
Yeah. No,
This is
I
King's
heard
Court.
about this on the radio, but this
Yeah.
is the era of baseball
this is
that
the
I
era.
completely
This
missed.
is after the thing that this man does that really like cements his legacy.
He has this hype before a perfect game.
He has it
He's a prodigy of
around
baseball.
this time.
He-
then there's something called
yeah.
a King's Supreme Court, which I'm fairly certain is what this picture's from.
Could be. Yeah.
Because King's Court was like if you sat in a certain section of at the time Safeco Field, now T-Mobile Park, you were the Felix section of the crowd.
Yeah.
Mm.
Every
Supreme
ballpark has to
Court
do something
is
like that.
The whole fucking stadium.
Everyone's got yellow K's.
is
I
the
went to
King's
it.
Court.
Yeah.
I went to one of those. It was fantastic. So
I've got
to-
one of his ones.
Oh
from
no, that's the
Everett.
thing. That's why I know of it.
That's why
is
you
'cause
recognize
we,
it.
We have one.
That's
yeah.
an even rarer.
It's in the
K.
studio. Yeah.
That's from Everett when Felix made one like
Rehab-
coming back
rehab
from
kid,
injury
yeah.
start.
He's like, I'm hurt, but I'm still gonna throw fire in Everett.
That will. Hey, that's actually
He
what they
did
do.
actually that day. It was a different Mariner. That
So
I'm
it's so
hurt,
funny.
and I'm gonna play
It's-
like ass, but you're gonna like
Ryan,
it.
it's so funny because that's what baseball is too. Is when a star gets hurt, they're like, "Why don't you go beat up on those little kids over there? Why don't you go
then
play? Why don't you go
sometimes
play
they don't.
AAA ball?"
Yeah.
So in 2005, he was named the #1 pitching prospect in the game by Baseball America and ranked #2 player overall behind Joe Mauer. Remember that name?
Joe
yeah,
Mauer.
that guy's a
Never heard this name.
that
in my
guy
life.
was on the cover of MLB The Show at one point in
Oh,
time.
okay.
And not only was he on the cover of MLB The Show, he was on the cover of MLB The Show where they introduced the Perfect Game Challenge.
Nice. So in 2005, this also brought concerns about his long-term health because he was playing so many different leagues and he was throwing.
He was World
a
Baseball
lot.
Classic
Yeah.
for Venezuela.
Yeah, in
His
while
winter
pitching,
league
While pitching in
and-
AAA Tacoma, he threw 100 strikeouts in 88 innings, which means he was striking out more people in a single inning. He was striking multiple people out in an
Like
inning.
1.3 batters per inning.
How many strikeouts per innings? Like,
Like
100,
1.3.
153.
100 strikeouts per in 88 innings.
Jesus
Oh,
fucking
I guess like
Christ.
more like 1.1 or 1.2.
But still, a
batters per
sizable
inning.
chance that he's gonna strike out 2 people in. an
He's gonna
inning.
strike out a batter every
Every
inning
inning.
that he's
Yeah.
pitching.
Yeah, absolutely. So he was named a AAA All-Star Game participant,
Okay.
but he was not able to play in that because he had shoulder bursitis.
I can speak
and
a
he was
little bit
also
about-
PCL Rookie of the Year and PCL Pitcher of the Year.
Pacific Coast League.
Yeah. So once rehabbed later this season, 2005, he would make his debut in the majors. Coming back from an injury, they pushed him all the way up into the majors. And August 4th, 2005, Felix Hernandez would take the mound against the Detroit Tigers in what would be a 3-1 loss at the age of 19. 19 years, 118 days. He was the youngest pitcher to start in the majors since Jose Rijo in 1984. So in the next couple outings,
25 years.
Yeah.
25
No
years.
one younger. had
Was
pitched
he?
in
Is
the
he
game.
18 at this point?
He was
19.
19 years old,
19.
118 days. Not in this picture. He's
no,
he's old
no,
as hell in
yeah,
this one.
yeah,
So
yeah.
he was 19 years old in less than 3 months. So like his birthday had happened, and then his 19th birthday had happened less than 3 months later. He was up in front of ostensibly, possibly 45,000 fans at a baseball stadium, pitching in the majors, amongst like guys who could be
His
Cal
dad.
Ripken's age at
Yeah.
40-6.
Yeah.
Still playing the game. Not likely, but possible. Oh shit, we got Larry Bernandez making a fucking
Next slide, yeah.
guest spot
We got Larry Bernandez.
in middle center.
I like his sideburns.
Well,
yeah, so
that's Larry's.
this was a marketing campaign that Felix wanted to pitch so much, but he couldn't because he has to have 3 days rest or whatever. So he's like, okay, what about my cousin Larry Bernandez? They throw this ad campaign out there
Ah.
to sell tickets, and then he would dress up like Elvis sometimes because he's the king, shit like that. So Felix, over his time in Seattle, will become the dominant ace. I mean, he would be the guy that's on the posters. He would be the guy on the tickets. He would be the guy with the banners, everything like that.
He's the guy that drives a Rolls-Royce Phantom.
To Everett, yeah.
Yeah.
He's the definition of an ace pitcher. Always flirting with injury over time, but delivering when he was on the mound. In 2006, he accomplished his first complete game. 2006. He was 20 at the time. 20 years old, he threw his first complete game on June 11th. And on August 27th, he would collect his first complete game shutout. So nobody scored. They got some hits, maybe some walks, but they didn't score, and he pitched all 27 outs.
Damn. I mean, it's impressive.
So 20 years old, he's
Yeah.
throwing up that I can do something that this other guy, some other people can't do.
It's
at all.
where like the sports world, who generally ignores Seattle because it's a super easy market to ignore, has to go like, oh shit, they got something special going on up there in the Northwest.
So
Let's talk about it on a national level.
injuries were always a concern for him. The team would start limiting how many pitches he could throw in a game, and that would always come in the way of the success of the team and yada yada yada. But then over the years, the next year, I think 2008, they would realize that limiting his pitches is not healthy for his stamina. So unleash the chain. So in 2007, he would begin a 10-year streak of being the Mariners' opening day starter, thus being the number one pitcher. And you're the first pitcher that all the teams get to see, the first showing of the team. This season would show long-term injuries, but not hindering him from a 14-7 record on the year. 2007.
Okay.
was.
And just to give a little bit of context to potential listeners and Ryan,
Please.
and also potentially get myself smacked down when it comes to knowing things about stuff. This is also an era where 14 wins was really great for King Felix because he got very little run support. Because to be a winning pitcher, your team has to score a run.
Yeah, that's part of winning is to collect the stat of a win by a pitcher. Your team has to be ahead.
It
in
has
a
to
short
be
amount of time.
both defensively from you and offensively from
That's how you.
everybody
That's how
else.
you
Yeah.
help you help the team by not letting them score, and they help you by scoring.
Scoring
Okay.
at least one run.
Yeah.
And King Felix's career is somewhat marred by the fact that he pitched a lot of great games where he didn't throw a run for a very long time, but the Mariners could not get a
We
run.
could
on
not
the fucking
capitalize
board.
at all
In
offensively.
the group chat, this is
Yeah.
constantly the battle. Is we're always labeling a pitcher as the new Felix because
He's Felix coded.
He's Felix. Yeah, George Kirby's the new Felix because the team will not support him with runs. Run support is a big term.
It's
in
become
baseball.
a curse in a way.
Something like that.
It's where your career stats are so heavily impacted by 9 other dudes on your team.
I mean, that's what we call a normal sport, Taylor. But baseball is different, where you
Baseball
have so
is
many
different whether-
metrics as
So
well
many damn
as
metrics.
As
the
an
metric that is
individual.
counted by 9 other people on your team as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so next slide, y'all. This is 2008. 2008 gave us quite an unforgettable season for Felix. On June 17th, he became the 13th American League pitcher to throw an immaculate inning. That is an inning where a pitcher throws the 9 strikes, 9 pitches, all strikes, ending in a strikeout. All strikeouts, right?
Okay.
Every pitch you throw in
Yeah.
that inning.
was a-
Nine pitches, inning over.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Sort of a deal.
and if that wasn't quite the accomplishment itself, 12 days later, while doing an interleague play in New York against the Mets in Shea Stadium in Queens, Felix got to bat as a pitcher because he's going in the National League now.
There's
where
also-
they don't have a designated hitter, a power hitter to replace the pitcher. The pitchers have to bat in the National League. Had to. That's been now, and all
For the
league
past
has
2
Is it fluid
seasons.
now?
Yes.
Where anybody can choose?
No, it's one
No,
player
no.
for the whole game, unless you want to sub him out for somebody else. But there's a designated hitter now for both leagues.
The way the rule used to work is if you had interleague play, which is American League versus National League, it came down to whose home was it.
yeah.
And if it was
Oh.
American
Home
League
team, you played by
versus
their
National League, and it was in a National League stadium, then the American League pitcher had to bat.
Yep.
If it was in a
Oh, that's so
American League stadium,
It
the
changed the
National
game,
League
right?
got to pick a designated hitter.
So weird.
I missed that about the game. That's what I loved so
So
much
it's
about baseball.
it's already a somewhat kind of rare thing because interleague play is not super common in an overall MLB season. But
no,
then
it is
also
every now as of this year, every team plays every team,
Okay.
which is the first time in the history of the game that this has been.
That's super
which
interesting.
it's
to
not
me.
like before. It used to be kind of a
It
rare
was
thing.
only like a June, July thing where you'd have an interleague play. So
and then it would
that's what made this
become
rare.
a 50-50 coin toss on whether or not your pitcher had to bat or not that game.
Right. Well, your pitcher has to bat at least once. If it's a starter and they're not fucking up, because when it would come to you're gonna sub your pitcher out after you guys bat, you would just put it in
The
a new
reliever
batter.
now has to go bat.
Yeah.
So yeah. So every time you're gonna have a pitcher come up to bat, you would just put in someone else to bat for them, and then you would have to put a new pitcher in when that time came.
You could use
Anyway.
a pitch hitter and then relieve that pitcher.
Anyway, so Felix comes up to bat with the bases loaded and hits a grand slam off of Johan Santana. That's what this
Felix
image,
Hernandez.
the pitcher.
King Felix
Yeah.
hits a grand slam.
It's a home run, but not only it's a home run.
See, I
it's-
had this left picture all fucking topsy turvy, where I was just kind of like, oh, yeah, no, this is Felix.
Felix is on the
Oh,
mound,
it's
right?
2 outs. He's throwing out that
Uh-huh.
strike. That's the immaculate inning. But
It
no,
took
this is him
it took
hitting
me
a
it
home
took
run.
me a second because I looked and I saw 57. That means nothing to me. And then I looked over and I was like, oh no, this is Felix's grand slam.
Wow.
So yeah, this and the announcers will say Felix would tell you where the air was blowing that day. He was so locked in. But yeah, batting from the right side, he hit a grand slam over the left bank wall.
He's a
the-
right batter, so that's where the ball naturally is going to go.
yeah.
No, he hit it over the right field. My bad.
Oh, so
It was
an
Oppo Taco.
field. So an even rarer grand slam.
Yes. So this was Felix's only home run of his career, and the first grand slam hit by an AL pitcher since 1971. It was the first home run ever hit by a Mariners pitcher, and then later that game, Felix would be covering home plate on a play, and Carlos Beltran would slide into his ankles and he'd be taken out of the game. 4 runs later.
Also,
Again, baseball anger.
there's a
baseball
stat
anger.
that like you fired off there, and I'm not to delay things any further. You said the first AL pitcher to hit a home run since 1971, right?
Grand slam.
A grand slam. Okay,
Yeah.
but that also predates the designated hitter role by like a decade, doesn't it?
No, I think DH has been
Okay.
in the AL for a while.
I thought the
entire
DH
time.
was something that came out around in like the 80s in the AL.
Taylor's
to look
just
it up.
trying to actually.
We'll
I'm
have to
not.
look it up.
I'm trying
We'll have
to
to
learn.
look it up. Okay, so then on the right, we're going to talk about 2009, which is Felix's hottest career statistically. Actually, wait, where am I here? Oh, so 2009 is not the image we're looking at is not from 2009. That's from 2010. But
Okay.
2009 is of note because it was his hottest year of his career statistically. He was on fire. He was the best he's ever or will be, and he set his career best in wins, strikeouts, innings pitched, and ERA. He finished with a 19-5 record, which is an insane stat to put out. It means you're an ace.
I also remember his innings pitched was up over 200,
Yep.
which is considered like a Superman tier pitcher, and his quality starts metric was
He was on like
insane.
he was
that
on like a
season.
notable Randy Johnson, Roger Clemens, Kurt
Yeah.
Schilling,
Yeah.
top echelon.
Is he
Pitcher.
reaching levels of like 1950s picture, like Smokes McKenzie back?
Even
Where-
earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The award that sits in front of him is Cy
Yeah,
Young,
Cy- yeah.
who
That
played
is-
before the 1950s.
Yes. So that is an image from 2010 where it gave us this unicorn stat. You guys remember Joe Mauer?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a unicorn stat. Not a lot of pitchers. It doesn't come on the rarity board. But Felix Hernandez struck out 4 men in an inning. Huh? I see the puzzle on your eyes.
But there's only 1, 2,
There's only
3
3 outs
3
in an
strikes,
inning.
you're out. Then
There
yeah.
is a fun little loophole in baseball. If you strike somebody out and the catcher doesn't catch the ball,
It's a
on
wild
that
pitch.
It's
Oh.
a wild pitch.
Yeah.
We've
So then
talked
you have
about
to
this
throw
one
down
night,
to
yeah.
first base to get them out on the run to first.
And your catcher fucks up, so you have to strike out another guy.
So it counts as a strikeout, does not count out as an out. So He was the third batter at the plate. Joe Mauer was the third batter to the plate on that inning, and he struck out swinging, but the ball got away, and he was able to reach on a wild pitch.
He
Then-
scooted. He shuffled. He waddled his way to first base.
Then Justin Marneau came up and was the fourth strikeout of the inning, and that was the third time a Mariner had struck out 4 batters in an inning, which is interesting because you don't hear about that happening a lot. But it's the fourth time a Mariner has.
Could I take a wild swing at the other 2?
I don't have them, so go ahead, swing for the fences, baby.
I'm
The
gonna
other
say,
3.
I am going to say Jamie Moyer
Okay.
probably had to do one of those other 3.
Sasaki.
I don't think Sasaki got it. Honestly, his career kind of like it was the candle that burns 6 times as bright, burns 6 times as short. I would say Gaylord Perry would be the other of the 3 other
Randy
Mariners.
Johnson as a Mariner.
Maybe Randy
Randy
Johnson.
Johnson.
I would
I'm pretty sure
I would
Randy
put
was
it
one of
I would
them.
put it down to Moyer, Perry, and Randy Johnson if I had to guess on who the other 3 were that had done that.
We'll go ahead and look that up, and we'll find out later. He became the 3rd youngest pitcher to strike out 1,000 people, which he did. The 1,000th strikeout was David Ortiz, Big Papi,
A former Mariner.
a former Mariner.
A guy named David Arias
Yeah.
when he was in Seattle.
So this was a redeeming season for Felix, award-wise. He should have won the Cy Young the year previous, but it was given to Zach Greinke. He had a 13-12 record, and he didn't do very much for strikeouts or ERA-wise. It wasn't as good as the year before, so I think that they gave it to him as like a, you did really good last year, kid. We
It's-
should have gave it to you.
It's
but
like, hey, Return of the King is coming out. We got to give you all the awards that we should have given you over
Yeah,
3
exactly,
years. But
exactly.
here you go. This is the year you get it.
Exactly. So that's going to move us to the next slide, please. All right. So in 2012, we know the Mariners would be victim of a perfect game, right?
Yeah.
In
Against
April
the
of
Chi-
all months.
In April, at the beginning, right, really sets the tone. The
Pitchers
question
are
is,
still figuring out their fucking game in
Yeah.
April. No one's throwing perfect games in fucking April.
so what? A good question is, does the way that we look at the perfect game reflecting on Philip Humber, does the perfect game reflect on the Mariners?
Oh God.
Like how his career went, how the Seattle Mariners season went? Were they just a victim of a bad day?
I see 2 people who
Or-
are like so emblematic of that season of the Seattle Mariners. One being number 13, Dustin Ackley,
Yeah, the kid.
who was
I
supposed
know
to
none
be.
of these Bojos.
You know that one, Bojo, in dead center. You know him.
You absolutely
him.
know
That's
the guy.
Ichiro. I don't know. Maybe we got some other Japanese guy.
Oh, he did. He was on that
But
team
this
too,
was
but
his
it
comeback
yeah.
season.
Well, Ichiro
No, before he got
Suzuki kind of
traded.
was
Oh.
on the Mariners in the 2012 season, but then he got traded. I remember I was in Alaska at this time. I was in the literal like American frontier that still existed at this time, where there was no fucking internet. And I remember my phone caught some fucking internet randomly in like a little fucking
and you got
moment.
like
And
my
you got
phone
the
went-
Northwest
My
alert.
phone
Ichiro
went-
has
yeah.
left.
Bop, bop. Hey, fucker.
Hey,
Ichiro's
fucker.
been traded to the Yankees. Fuck
Get
you.
fucked.
I know your day probably sucks because you're working in the salmon
Dude.
industry in Western Alaska.
And
but
while the
Ichiro's
Yankees were in
gone.
Seattle too, that's
Yeah.
the craziest thing. Is one
What?
day he was playing.
He
one
got
day
to
he
leave
played
on
against
the same plane as the
Oh,
rest
like
of the
we were
team.
playing the Yankees
Yes.
that day.
So the day before he was playing as a Mariner. The
What?
next day he was playing as a Yankee.
And then he got
in
to go
Seattle.
home on the same fucking plane as everyone.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, top 10 anime betrayals.
It's
Exactly.
not
right there,
necessarily
Dude,
all that.
Right
that's
there.
exactly how you should put it. It's an anime betrayal. Yeah.
It is
It's-
a melodramatic
While
like,
it feels
betrayal.
like an anime betrayal, it actually also isn't all that uncommon in baseball because it does feel a lot of the time when like a team is in town to face another team. That's when like maybe the general managers of those teams like
It's
go
a
out to a
showcasing
steak
of
dinner
a
Yeah.
player,
and like
yeah.
do some horse trading.
That actually just happened with the Mariners too. Like they got done playing against the Arizona Diamondbacks, previously noted in this
And
game.
then suddenly there
2
was,
days
oh,
later,
there's only 14
2 days, there's
players
2
now.
new Arizona Diamondbacks in their locker room.
Well, how many times in spring training has a guy been traded from the San Diego Padres to the Mariners?
Yeah, exactly.
I
It
just-
happens all the time. 'cause
I
they
just think of
share
it as the
same
general
facility.
managers being like, we can save like $576 on air
We'll just
fare.
take 'em if you just
We'll
leave 'em. If you just
Let's
leave 'em.
'em. Do you want them?
Aside from a 7-game win streak going into August that put them 7 games behind 500, the team was not doing well. They were in the
Division
midst.
standings be fucked.
They were
It
in the
was
midst of what will
500.
later be known as the Great Mosaic of the Mariners as like the bad times. This was like we were in the heat of the bad times as a Mariner team.
Ichiro's gone.
The 2012 season, coached by Eric Wedge and managed by Jack Zariznik, ended up being a 75-87 season.
That was after the Dave Wakamatsu era.
Fourth in the 4-man AL West at the time. Now it's a 5-man AL West. They were 19 games back from first place. They held first place for 4 days over the whole season.
And it was in May.
It was in May. They had 22 comeback wins in their 38 blown leads of the whole season. At one point, the team combined for a no-hitter against the LA Dodgers, which is the right image there, where the 6 pitchers went out that day and nobody got a hit. So that's pretty cool.
That is something you're seeing more and more of in baseball is
But
combined
a collective no-hitter,
Yes.
in essence, like you
Yes.
can't attribute it to one man.
Exactly.
Zach, correct me on this. Has there been a multi-man perfect game yet?
Dabs on them. Nope.
All right.
Okay.
Because no one's fucking stupid enough to pull a perfect game.
No,
You
that's
let
that.
them
No,
That's
rip
what I
their
figured.
rotator cuff, throwing a home run, and then you pull them. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what you do in baseball.
these are
Some guy
metrics
needs
I
a
hadn't thought of.
rotator
You
cuff,
could
Tommy John, and wrist surgery in one pitch, and that's when you pull him.
you could feasibly have a multi-man perfect
It's
game.
possible.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
It's an 100% possible. But you know what?
Never
there's
fucking gonna
one
happen.
fucking like hill to die on in
You
baseball.
don't switch
It's-
boats mid-river.
Yeah. Exactly.
Thanks, Dad.
dude. So the team was not flourishing, but they did end up having something to hang their hat on. You know, the
Okay.
no hitter in front of, and these guys were so stoked on
And
it too.
Ichiro high-fiving Dustin Ackley, which was
Never
such a
see you
great,
again.
such a great mid. This
Oh.
was also the Sean Figgins season,
It
wasn't
was the Sean Figgins season. Yeah.
Who the fuck is that? But also,
Sean Figgins.
I want to admit, like we've seen lots of pictures of Safeco Field
Yes.
throughout this this whole episode, and we saw your Brazilian fans with your
Yes.
King
With my
Felix.
Brazilian K's.
Yeah, you saw like half-empty stadiums when your Chicago White Sox guys getting Gatorade
Yep.
poured on them.
Yep.
And these angles just emphasis, please don't look at how many people are at the stands.
Yes, they did. Boca
Like,
the fuck out of that thing.
is it-
Boca the fuck out of here.
Is it a no-hitter if no one's there to watch?
Exactly. That's
fact-
the title of my book.
If I can, boys, put on our tin hats for a second. This is also a period of time where Nintendo owned the Seattle Mariners, and I would argue during the time in which Nintendo owned the Seattle Mariners, they just cared more about like a balance sheet of how many tickets like sold versus how much the team cost,
Yeah.
and like the numbers in versus numbers out, and they never really give that big of a shit about how well the team overall did. They viewed the Seattle Mariners like an investment for cash flow to make 3DSs and GameCubes and Nintendo Wii U's.
That's my book. It's called For Not the Love of the Game. And you're just sort of in it. It's a business investment. Yeah.
I guarantee you, every time one of those guys was up to bat, or one of those guys was pitching and an opposite team player was up to bat, there was a Nintendo 3DS advertisement on the video board behind the batter.
So funny that the team has a player named Kirby now, and it's not owned by Nintendo.
I know.
After
Missed
Nintendo-
opportunity.
Missed.
I mean, Nintendo still is an owner of the Seattle Mariners. They're just a minority owner now. They were a majority owner. Like, they were
Yeah.
the prime owner of the Seattle Mariners during
Okay.
this
And
time.
they never did any stupid fun shit. I know there was some like
I never got a
DS or
3DS for going to
3DS
it.
like
There were always
capability.
sweepstakes on it, and their fan
But the
appreciation
sweepstakes,
days.
but never like, hey, bring your 3DS to the game and you can track stats on it because you're
This is-
hooked up to the Nintendo Stadium. Sort of
Nintendo
bullshit.
also kind of screwed the pooch by not getting into like cell phone games when they could have. There was a big market for that. They just waited, and luckily the effing Switch took off because they were about to lose a a Brazilian amount of dollars
If I can
by
make-
not being like
I have
streamlining.
no
Mario.
defense for any sort of company, but sometimes you're the fish with legs that climbs up on
Yeah.
the land, and then sometimes you're the fish that just stays
Yes,
in the shallows
yes.
and becomes a better fish.
It's like
and
they're-
and that's sort of what they did.
They were fucking fart. They
In a
almost
way.
farted it away with the Wii, the Wii U, and then what? The
Oh, it all-
micro
it's-
Game Boy thing was a deal.
It's all been, yeah.
That's a Game Boy Advance generation, dog. If
Yeah,
I can be the contrarian in this,
We've
'cause
gone so off the
I
rails,
do
we're
know-
hitting Renton right now.
Yeah.
I do know video games better than I know baseball. There are two things. One, Nintendo did cash in a little bit with Ken Griffey Jr. baseball, both the Super Nintendo and the Nintendo 64.
They struck the iron one time.
2 times. Both of those were a
You
good
know, a
selling
broken
baseball
iron
game.
strikes twice.
And I can
Measure
say,
one, strike twice.
I can say from
Strike
personal,
me once, full on me.
I can say from personal experience, playing Pokemon Go at what is now T-Mobile Park, even in the days of Safeco Field or
Yeah.
T-Mobile Park,
That was 2016 that got released.
it's still on, and it's still one of the best places, like in
I'm saying
in
between
a square footage area for like shit that gives you bonuses in the game. So like there are some slight Nintendo benefits of being a
T-Mobile's
Seattle.
given more benefits, Mariners wise, than I feel like.
Sure, it's also a dog shit cell phone company that barely fucking works.
Yeah, but they give me free stuff like watch my baseball when I'm not in baseball town. As long as I'm not
If
in
you
my
have
favorite baseball
service-
town, I can watch my favorite baseball team.
If you have service
Well,
wherever you
that's-
are, which is
I got service, I got. Anyway.
I'll take a try hard bad service any day over a service that's just mass appeal, like a fucking Pokemon Go. It was fun. But 2016 is 7 years ago.
So 2012 was 11 years ago. That's 11 years ago, dude.
brother.
Brother, what if the sun went?
Could you imagine a decade and then another year? That's how long ago this was.
So this was 11 years ago. And if we want to talk about the 2012 Mariners, we should also talk about the 2012 Felix Hernandez. Damn it! I thought I had a slide for that. So,
I was in Alaska. I remember shit
so
sucked.
you know, I
as a
do have
Mariners
stats
fan.
to talk about.
Shit sucked in my life.
Felix in his 2012 season, he would go a complete game 18 times in a single season.
Okay.
And 4 of those were going to be shutouts.
He was en fuego.
He was in Fuego. In 2010, he would complete 6 games. In 2012, he would go 5 for 5 in complete games, all 5 of them being shutouts. 18 times they can go to the service, 27
I'm
outs.
saying this is the question mark, but these are real stats.
These are real stats.
Felix was on fire in 2012. So much so it made it to the fucking podunk, desolate wasteland I was gutting fish in.
Okay,
at
so
the
then
time.
on August 4th in the Bronx, Felix would throw his 3rd complete game against the Yankees. His next outing would
Fuck
be in
'em.
Anaheim, where he
Fuck
got a
those guys,
no
too.
decision in 7 innings and pitched with 5 runs and 3 strikeouts. So, on August 15th, he would come home with a 10-5 record on the season.
Unusually kind of bad season for Felix at this point.
Yeah, I mean, still 10 wins is pretty good.
Yeah.
10 wins is good. As we looked at George Kirby, he was rocking 9 wins, and it's even later in the season. Well, that's actually earlier in the season when I took that screenshot.
But
so.
this is early 2010s Felix.
This is 2012 Felix, and this is a team that is very bad at giving run support. If we also look at this image on the right, it's a 1-0 score on a no-hitter.
That's classic.
That's drama, but it did come in the 7th.
It
from
did
what-
come in the 7th, yeah.
So I mean, you know, drama.
So there was
up
another
until the
reliever
7th.
and then a closer of those 6 guys that threw a no-hitter.
Okay, so this is the next slide. And the following takes place between 12:40 p.m. and 3:02 p.m. on Wednesday, August 15th, 2012 in Seattle, Washington. The Seattle Mariners are hosting the Tampa Bay Rays to 21,889 people.
Is this the nugget? Is this the moment in time?
It is, and also I do want to point out 21,000, almost 900 people on a Wednesday game.
Playing hooky, dude.
Uh,
Summer hooky.
was this a 1 p.m. game or a 7:10 game? Do you know?
This was a 12:40 game.
Okay,
Says right there, dude.
Sorry.
So
I
so
didn't
you
pay
also
attention.
have like, you know, I'm gonna take my lunch break and go see the Mariners.
You had to
lose
take a
to the Rays.
You had to take a day off of work, or at least a half day at work, to go watch this happen. And the stadium is almost half full at this point.
Exactly.
And I have been to midday weekday games for the Mariners.
day games.
Even when the Mariners are doing really, really good, it's still hard to like half fill a stadium.
Exactly. And at that time too, the high was Felix. 21,000 on a Wednesday. they're high on Felix.
They're just hoping
It-
he does
that's
something
good.
good.
That's
you know the
good.
bats aren't going to do shit that day.
Yeah,
They maybe get a run.
given the threshold of ticket sales and stuff. The
In
the
August.
Oakland Athletics right now,
Yeah.
which are a tanking team, on a Friday Saturday night, they're selling 4,000 tickets.
Okay, so people are high on.
People are
This
high.
is even though I assume overall Mariners are doing kind of shitty.
Yes.
If you take like a few like hardcore historically established fan bases out of the equation, this is a really good like weekday baseball game.
This is Circus is back in town, boys.
Exactly.
We're gonna watch
Like,
King
I
Felix
would
do
say
some wild
maybe
shit
the only
and
markets where you'd
lose.
have like better attendance on a Wednesday
Chicago.
at 12:40. The Cubs,
Probably Cincinnati, and Florida.
New
for
York.
Sure. Miami probably would if they were good. New York too. Yeah.
the Bray, and also maybe depending on how the team's doing that season, Boston.
Oh yeah, Boston. All right, so we're gonna go to the next slide, y'all. Look at him.
Felix, hey, at least he's under
He
shade.
doesn't have that neck tattoo yet.
Not yet.
The clay looks clay-like. The grass looks grass-like.
That's gravel.
So, being the home team, Seattle starts the game on the field. Felix is pitching, throwing the first pitch of the game. Tampa Bay begins with their inning with a batting attempt from Sam Feud. Typically, with a leadoff batter, you want to put speed on base, right? Somebody that can get on base and then when they're on base, threaten that pitcher with I'm going to steal. Can I steal? I got speed. I'm fast.
It's a combo of the both. You want
Well,
your
no, chess game of baseball where
Exactly.
like you want to draw the pitcher's attention
Uh-huh.
and have that pitcher fuck up in a way,
Make him
and
a little scared.
you want to make him nervous.
draw his attention away from throwing a fucking perfect game.
Yes, exactly. So Sam Feud hits a fly ball deep into right center field for an out. One up, one down. Your second batter in the game is B.J. Upton. And this, you also kind of want a speedster, but you also want someone that can actually hit the ball. You put somebody that connects the bat to the
High
ball.
batting average.
Oh no,
yeah.
I understand the
The
hey
fluid of
hey, like make your batting lineup sort of like okay, we have setup batters and we have
It's
hit
not
him
a
in
direct
batters.
1 through 9 in terms of batting average, always, all
No.
the time. Sometimes it is.
But I assume it
but-
goes in sort of some sort of sine cosine curve,
Yeah.
in that sense of like, well, you want people that can maybe get on base to get a slugger in
honestly,
behind them
the
in
desire
case
is always
they
to
do.
have people on base or to hit home runs. So
Yeah.
it's simple
Usually
to try
number
to get your game
4
plan around that.
symbolizes like someone who can fucking maybe hit a dinger.
The power hitter, because
Yeah.
if you get to batter 4 in the inning, you're gonna want to have somebody because obviously someone has gotten on base.
Yeah.
3 outs. If the 4th batter's up, something good has happened.
Someone's
you
on
want
base.
someone that's going to ensure we're going to go even deeper into the lineup. So
This
put a power hitter
this
there.
baseball math makes sense.
Yeah, simple as that.
So you construct a batting lineup.
Yeah.
So B.J. Upton grounds out to shortstop.
Or
Batting
rotation.
third is Matt Joyce. The third spot is as one of the power hitters. You want a guy that's going to give you something.
Yeah.
Matt Joyce grounds out to second base. The side is retired. So the Mariners come up to bat, and in what is a typical bottom of the first, no one was the wiser what was going to happen. So the team played like a regular ass game. Like, who's going to go up there, make it our game.
Fly
whatever.
out, ground out, strikeout.
Yeah, that's a Mariners game if I've ever heard one. Like that's
Yeah.
If I had to bet, my exact results: fly out, ground out, strikeout. For first inning on the Mariners this game.
No, that's Knackley starts the game off with a hit.
Oh,
A hit
shit.
to left field.
Okay.
So there's a man on first.
So we
with
get
no
we get a
outs.
batter number 4 in this inning.
We-
automatically.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair
Okay.
enough.
I mean,
Then
don't-
fly out, ground out, strikeout.
Nope. Double play.
All right.
Michael Saunders. Michael Saunders
the
comes
grind-
up to second.
The ground out came earlier.
He's a guy that usually hits dingers. I mean, he's a power hitter, but he didn't last with the Mariners very long. He hits a line drive out, and Ackley's not able to get back to the base in time. So, double play, 2 outs, and then Jesus Montero is third to bat.
Oh, no.
And he lines out to third. So
Didn't he throw a ice cream? Or didn't he get an ice cream sandwich thrown at him at one point in time?
I don't recall that.
I think it happened when he got demoted down to AAA. A baseball journalist whipped an ice cream sandwich at Jesus Montero, and then I think they ended up in a physical fight.
Okay, so next slide.
Yeah.
Here we got second inning, top of the second. Felix is back up again. Leading off is Evan Longoria, and he is batting .293. So almost every third.
Yeah,
Time he comes to the bat,
Pretty
right?
good.
Not good, but not spectacular.
And as we said, with the fourth batting spot, because he's the fourth batter, Felix will face. You want to have a power hitter here. You wanna be able to get have this guy get on base or drive somebody in. Best case scenario, at least one man's on, and you can advance something. Longoria strikes out swinging. This is the first strikeout of the day for Felix. Then comes to bat is Ben Zobrist. He grounds out to short. Carlos Pena bats sixth, and he flies out to left field. Then in the bottom of the inning, when the Mariners are up to bat, John Jaso flies out to shortstop. Kyle Seager hits a fly ball to left field. Then Justin Smoke steps up to the plate and reaches base on a ground ball error. This brings up Trayvon Robinson. I was really hopeful for Trayvon Robinson, but he ended up being nothing. He singles to left and advances Smoke to second. Now there's an opportunity for them to score.
Yeah.
Eric Thames comes up, and he flies out to left. It's a 0-0 game going into the third inning. Next slide. This is where the only action of the game happens. The third inning.
It appears to be a man galloping on the right.
Trotting, if you will.
Jogging.
So we'll start with the top of the inning. But these
Glitching.
slides are from
I
the
think
bottom.
my EA game is broken. I need to contact customer support real quick.
So in the top of the inning, Jose Lobaton, batting the seventh spot, flies out to right field. Elliot Johnson strikes out swinging, and Sean Rodriguez flies out to left. In the middle of the third, by the middle of the third inning, Felix has retired all 9 batters he has faced and retired 2 of them through strikeout. And in the bottom of the third, it's very anticlimactic, but Brendan Ryan singles to left. Dustin Ackley comes up to bat with no outs and stays true to the Mariners' legacy. He pops out to shortstop. 1 man on, 1 man out. Michael Saunders is back up to bat. And he lines out to left field. 2 outs, 1 man on base. Jesus Montero comes up to plate. Second time in the game. Might have figured it out.
He gets to first.
Brendan Ryan steals second. That's what happens first. So now it's,
we're seeing a man on.
Brendan Ryan
third
is
and
the
first.
blurry man we
he's
see.
half
okay.
man, half
Off to
blur.
the
See, I don't know
side,
any
yeah.
of these
Yeah.
people.
Brendan Ryan is the base runner there. Jesus Montero is the guy that looks like he's about to hit or has hit that ball.
He is
And-
the guy who throws the ice cream sandwich.
He's
at
wearing
someone in Everett.
Broccoli's. He's swinging.
And so he's not known for his hitting. He's not really. Jesus Montero's not really actually that great of a player. He started off as a catcher. He actually was a catcher at times too, but then he was moved over to first base. He came over to the Seattle in a trade with an ace pitcher, an up and coming ace pitcher, Michael Pineda. But because we had a Felix Hernandez, we had at one time a Cliff Lee. Pineda was like, we could trade him. We can get something out of him. Jesus Montero was that thing that they got out of him, and it was not that good. So Jesus Montero has his moment in the sun. He singles to left, bringing home Brendan Ryan and scoring the only run of this game.
In the bottom of the third, 6. You have 2/3 of this baseball.
Hooray!
game left.
Baseball got exciting.
For 1 second.
like an
33.3
hour and 13 minutes in.
33.3% of the game in.
So next slide is the top of the fourth. And guys, this is all pulled from, it's on YouTube if you want to watch the perfect game.
Yeah.
For all its glory. It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun watch if you like watching baseball. So Felix begins the second round through the batting order. This is something I wanted to go through all these because each inning kind of has its own story to be told. The fourth inning,
absolutely.
the top of the fourth inning means he has shown some stuff, his pitches to these batters, and now they've gone to their drawing board. Mm-hmm. They're not going to be fooled again. Fool me twice.
No,
Shame on you. Can't be fooled again.
Okay.
So when they come up to bat, the second time through the order is one of the hardest for a pitcher because you've shown them your first wave of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You have usually 4
and
pitches
you
in
are
the arsenal.
exponentially more tired at the point
Yes,
of
depending on how
unfocused.
And you're also more predictable.
Yeah.
on that
Depending
day.
on how
they've
well
seen 2 of your pitches so far.
Yeah. If you
And
have
at
2
least
more,
part.
3.
and what your sequence is going to be, how
Yeah.
you're going to react to. Are you in my head? Am I in your head? All these things happen. So the second time through the order is crucial to find who's good and who's a bad pitcher. If you are given the same flash in the pan to every fucking batter, 9 dudes are going to fall for it.
Yeah.
But the next 9 are not going to fall for it. So in the fourth inning, Sam Feud, BJ Upton, and Matt Joyce again Feud lines out to third. Upton and Joyce strike out swinging. Then in the bottom, the Mariners, Kyle Seager grounds out. Justin Smoke strikes out. Trayvon Robinson grounds out. In the fifth, Evan Longoria lines out. Zobrist flies out. Pena grounds out. And in the bottom of the fifth, Thames grounds out. Ryan and Ackley both fly out. So then that's going to move us way past the fifth into the sixth. Because this is bottom of the sixth is when Felix began to get everyone's hopes up. This is when you've gone 5 full innings and
Yeah.
no one's touched first. Everyone starts to begin to like.
There's a little bit of magic happening.
It's where
over
rumbling
here.
starts.
Yeah.
Like Doc Ellis talks about that.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
there's
yeah.
like a certain amount of innings where you've thrown a no-hitter or a perfect game where like people start to believe because it happens so often in so many
Well, you
early
can't
innings
deny
of a game.
it at a certain point where you got it. You got it.
It's a point where like it's
going. You
left the
still got
realm
it.
of like, oh, this is something that happened, but it'll go away to like, oh no, this may become a reality.
And so what we didn't get into in the over-explaining of the batting order is the bottom 3. Usually your catcher lies somewhere down there because they have their gear that they have to take off to go bat, right?
And
They
they're
need-
usually
they
not-
need a wardrobe change.
They
I've
need a
done
wardrobe
theater.
change.
I've done theater.
And your other 2 worst batters are going to be somewhere in that place,
Okay.
And
right?
your catchers usually like they're so worth so much defensively in their communication with the pitcher and like the figuring out of what pitch is going to be thrown.
Yeah.
that like
They're usually
their
side by side.
their batting average is weighted so much less comparatively to like all the other batters in a game.
Yeah, because the catcher and the pitcher, they're usually in the dugout talking to each other about how we can attack the next
Like
couple
Yeah,
of
the,
days.
your
yeah.
catchers,
So-
that's the
defensive
time you want to
capabilities.
spend
Yeah,
rather
it's-
than sitting up at the plate.
I mean,
Yeah,
Right.
waiting
And
for
sometimes you
fucking
get a
bat,
Mike
shit like that.
Piazza who
Waiting to
is a
strike
catcher
out.
who is a great fucking batter. Just to pull one example out of my ass.
Yeah, Mike Zunino also was a great hitter for his time. But anyway, so the bottom of the 6th, he's facing that bottom order. Or the top of the 6th, he's facing that bottom order.
Yep.
And
Arguably his second
when
easiest inning.
he's
of the
finally
game.
gotten through.
He's gotten through the second full rotation of the batters.
He's
because
right
right?
it's,
into
it's a
And-
perfect game, so
and
he's
when-
he's 3 up, 3 down, sort
Yep.
of a deal.
Yep,
so he's
exactly.
finally getting to the bottom.
So then when he walks off the mound here after a strikeout, you know, people are wondering, as you wonder in the 4th inning, well, he's shown them 2 different variations of himself. What can he trick them a third time? Each batter, all 9 men, can he trick them a third time?
Yeah.
Is
That's
this
where
possible?
you're really pulling a rabbit out of your hat for pretty much 9 batters.
So then in the bottom of the 6th, aside from the 2-out double from John Jaso, the Mariners deliver nothing of note. All right, so this is the 7th inning.
Wow.
7th inning has a little bit of controversy.
We got an angry man.
You
here.
want to see? So this the red box I put up here,
Yeah.
over here. This is what we call a strike zone.
Okay.
So if you want to know what a strike looks like if no one swings at it, it's got to be right in between these balls here.
And it's not what Fox Sports dictates. It's what
No.
the
It's,
umpire.
it's what this
Yeah.
gentleman right behind us in the black is.
Yeah.
He's calling his own game.
But what he is supposed to be measuring it by is from the elbows to the knees of the batter. And
As we can see in even your strike box, like it's about 4 inches below
and
the knee.
his
Yep.
and the umpire
I'm gracing him here.
I gave you an x-axis. The y-axis is supposed to be the umpire's shoulders, basically.
Well,
on a
Plate.
strike
It's
box.
over the plate. It's got to be over the plate.
And
Sir,
and as
I-
we can
sir,
see,
I
sir,
need the widest empire.
I
Sir,
say-
I
I-
can show you this is not over the plate.
I say the umpire's shoulders because it depends on where the umpire lines up. If the umpire is directly in the center of the plate, then yes, his shoulders should probably be the edges of the strike zone. But not every umpire lines up in exactly the middle of the plate, and it's his perspective that he's judging off what the strike zone is.
Unlike many other sports, baseball is a 3-dimensional game that is played very suddenly, but most importantly, in the 2D spectrum.
Yeah.
One of the, it's
It
one
is-
of the games.
It, is,
Yeah.
it turns 2-dimensional when it matters, and it's always where it's kind of like, well, that umpire made a bad call.
Yep.
Like that's
Baseball
way out of the zone.
through its like metrics and like its telecast has become like the game that like the guy on the bar stool could call more accurately than the guy that's like actively calling the game.
Yeah.
yeah.
So what you're seeing here
Okay.
is a called strike.
bad call.
It's Felix pitching.
Felix is pitching.
Felix is about a foot to
And it appears-
18 inches outside the strike zone.
Oh yeah, no. It
on this
appears your
strike
catcher is almost like midway to Belltown,
Yes.
like trying to
He's
catch
on his
it.
way back to Everett.
Yeah,
His
he's going to the aquarium.
Full fucking glove is out the strike
Yeah.
zone.
Yeah.
Absolutely. His whole body is out of that strike zone. So what you're seeing in the bottom left here
That's the
is
Tampa Bay Rays manager.
Big Joe Madden, Big Joey Baseball. He didn't like that.
Is he a Madden?
No,
he's not related to John Madden.
No, but he is. He's a pretty famous. He brought a World Series to the Cubs.
He is a
After
Madden, but not
120
one
years.
of those Maddens.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Not a Steve Madden, not a John Madden.
Nope.
So Madden gets tossed from this game for arguing balls and strikes, which is something that the umpires do not have a good threshold for. By umpire Rob Drake, that's the man.
Is this the CIA piece of shit?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this guy's a plant.
It's
Like
CIA versus the mob.
I don't know. I've never seen a guy
So
look
Madden
like this
looks like
sell
a-
drugs. Like
Okay, so then all three batters in the top. I
Yeah.
mean, everybody knows that everybody he faces gets sat down.
Yeah.
Right. So then in the bottom of the seventh, Justin Smoke.
does this coach get thrown out?
Yes. Joe Madden gets thrown out. The Tampa Bay Rays commander gets thrown out.
I mean, I'd be that angry too.
Wouldn't you? You're getting perfected in the seventh inning. 2 outs.
Also,
You're getting perfected.
Could I tell you, Ryan, that what Joe Madden's doing is somewhat strategic? Like from a purely superstitious but somewhat measurable sense. As a baseball manager, if your team is still in the game and it's close, and something kind of happens that's fucked, it actually behooves you to go get ejected from the game as the manager, because there's just that juice, that us versus them mentality that was
And that your coach is
created
in your corner.
by your coach. Lou Piniella,
Again, bringing it back
legendary
to your
Mariners
bowling icon.
manager.
It's sort of sorry team, I'm gonna go put myself on the cross, and hopefully that gives some
that
fuel.
galvanizes the players. That creates that us versus the
I'm out of
world
this game. This
mentality
game is bullshit.
that you
Win
need.
for me.
But
Make
no,
Daddy proud.
Lou Piniella, the Seattle manager extraordinaire, is known for stealing a base because he was so pissed off about what the umpire was telling him.
Mm-hmm.
He just grabbed the base and fucking walked off with it.
Other Mariners manager
Lloyd
Lloyd McClendon did the same damn thing. It's a fire inside of the man in the blue.
One had more effect than the other.
I think
arguably.
it's it's kind of like well, I gotta do something.
Yeah.
I'm so angry and I gotta leave my mark.
But
And
this
I
is
can't take a shit
Yeah.
on second base, so
But
I'm
just
just
to show
gonna
you-
steal it.
Just
Just to
fucking
show
take it.
you the mental game that is baseball, this could be a targeted arguing with an umpire.
Yeah.
By Joe Madden.
Just enough time.
to potentially create the spark in his team.
Justified
To level the
of
playing field
targeting
in the score.
anger, because
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't matter where you're sitting. You can be behind the plate. You can be in the dugout. This isn't a strike.
You're right. You're damn right.
This isn't a strike, and
Watching this, hearing Dave Sims announce it, he's like, "Whoa!" and they give him one.
Yeah.
does that diminish a perfect game?
No, not whatsoever.
Is that the
every
point?
Perfect,
Is that the point of this
every
episode?
A
perfect
perfect game
game
is a perfect game.
every
Yeah.
perfect game has been judged by another human being, so
Yeah.
maybe it is a little bit about that. So, moving on to the next slide. I want to talk about the other side of this, okay?
Who's
Josh?
who's this Make-A-Wish kid that
This
they
is-
have throwing?
This
the game?
is Jeremy Hellickson.
Jeremy, I was so close with the
You're
Josh.
so close with Josh. So in the commentary on, and one time I was watching MLB tonight or something like that, and Eric Wedge, manager of the Mariners during this game, was on, and they were talking about another no-hit bid that was ruined, right? And he said, when I was managing Felix's perfect game, our only priority was to win the game. Felix's perfecto was second nature.
That sounds like the most Eric Wedge shit I ever heard.
Exactly.
That also sounds like a saving face, but also propping up a Felix. Like it's not like ooh, because you
Yeah.
know everybody when you hit that 7th inning and you're still going strong. They're kind of like, "Ugh."
It's a statement you make in retrospect, and it's also a statement you make to make it sound like you're a better coach than you are.
Yeah.
Because you didn't win that many fucking games because you're Eric fucking Wedge.
But that is to say quite the compliment to Jeremy Hellickson here, where
Yeah, I mean, he only gave up
He
one
was-
fucking run.
he was on the other side of this perfect game. Their starter, Jeremy Hellickson, only gave up 1 run on 5 hits in the game. That, as a stat alone,
Very
is
good.
very good.
Oh,
That is an outstanding day for a pitcher. And as a
That's a-
manager, you can see why you would hold out hope that this pitcher would bring the game back in for you. Only 1 run. You really don't think that this perfecto
You do
is
want to
gonna
write
hold.
his hot hand.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
You don't really want to
He's
like
doing
relieve him.
good.
There's one hand that's hot and there's one hand that's hotter. And it just so happens to be Felix Hernandez was hotter that day
Yeah.
than this kid. Right? And Hellickson was a very solid pitcher.
Still
The
pitching a
previous
hell
year-
of a game.
The
Yeah.
previous year, he was Rookie of the Year. And he
Oh,
would
that's a
receive,
rookie of the year. That's not a Golden Glove. Okay.
And he would receive a Golden Glove.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we got both.
Yeah.
Okay.
In 2012, he would fall off the map of relevancy. He gets tossed around with different teams, but ends up on the World Series Washington Nationals in 2019. So,
Holy shit.
good for him.
Wow.
Okay.
Not pitching.
I mean, that's sport.
He was a part of the roster.
He's sweeping the stadium.
The
What?
stadium.
Wait. What was his
Well,
roster
he
position?
never pitched in the World Series, I should say, is what I mean.
Was he a reliever, a closer?
think he was a reliever.
setup?
But he was a part of the team. The way they have to strip down the rosters. As
Sure.
in the postseason.
Yeah.
But
okay.
he was a part of the 2019
Okay.
team. So in the eighth inning, that's when Kyle Farnsworth comes in to relieve him and goes against the Mariners. 8th inning. That is, almost a complete game. Almost a complete game for a player.
And I don't want to derail.
Yeah.
Has there ever been an attempted shootout? 2 perfect games happening at the same time that
Yeah.
gets ruined at like the
Well, I think
5th inning
no-hitters.
or something.
Well,
like
yeah.
Not
Actually, the
perfect.
Mariners were just in one recently where both players were going on a no-hitter. It was
boring baseball,
Not
but
perfect,
but
yes,
interesting.
there have
baseball.
been multiple times where they're like a dual no-hitter.
what was it? It was their names were the same too. Like their names were like they both had the same first name or something like
It
that.
was a mirror match.
Brian's. It was like Brian Wu, the new Mariners pitcher, and Brian something else were like both doing perfect games.
The
and
Battle
then
of the
one-
Bryans.
The Battle of the Bryans, yeah.
Up until like
exactly.
what, the 5th inning?
Yeah, like the fifth
Yeah.
or sixth inning. So Kyle Farnsworth faces Ackley, Saunders, and Montero, and I didn't spoil this for you guys. Only 1 run happens in this game, and it's already
Yeah.
happened. So this team doesn't deliver anything, and that gets us
Cannot
into-
provide Felix with a more of a cushion.
that get the way Humber was given that 9th inning little cushion. The Mariners cannot provide something like that. So that brings us to our next slide. The King in his jacket. This brings us to the 9th inning, and being the home team, the Mariners hold the lead against the next 3 batters. They do not have to face the bottom of the inning. This is going to be the last appearance of anybody in a Mariners jersey if Felix holds out this win.
And also to point out the insanity, like we all have lived most of all of our lives here in the Pacific Northwest. It gets hot in August in Western Washington, despite our like reputation of being like the rain capital of America.
Oh no, we get
it gets
about
fucking
we get
hot.
about like 12 days of heat.
Felix is wearing 3 fucking layers
Yeah.
for like
Dude, not to
20
mention- not to
minutes
mention the
while
skin tight
another
that's going
yeah.
on, like the wife pleaser.
Yeah.
Not
That's
only
underneath
wearing
that.
3 layers,
possibly 4
Possibly
layers at
4.
this point in time.
4 layers
in the fucking
sun.
August direct sunlight heat in a dugout at Safeco Field at this point in time. Like, just like I would be dying sweating.
So, with baseball, as we saw in the Mariners getting perfected, towards the last inning, we saw the last 2 batters were pinch hitters. It's to say that we still respect the game, but we're not going to roll over for you, right? The same thing happened in the Mike Cameron 4 home run game.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't going to roll over on him and let him hit another home run. And
No one gives you a freebie on a perfect game or
No.
you
an
still,
amazing hitting
You still
game.
got to try.
You gotta
gotta-
go.
you have to
gotta
earn
go
it.
earn it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
So many no hitters, whether they be individual or combined, have been ruined in the 8th and 9th inning because the other team held the philosophy, you got to go earn this on us.
Yeah.
Our fans who are in the stands may be cheering for you now over us, but we're still going to make you
You're getting
fucking
cucked.
earn it.
It's good sportsmanship.
Yeah,
in
it
that
is.
way where it's just kind of like, we're not gonna roll over and let you take the hey, you're now Mr. 3000.
It's not over yet.
Yeah.
It's the eggs and Mr. 3000. It's not over yet.
You're
And
not-
you know what? You might build your own legacy on being the spoiler of someone's perfect game.
yeah.
So in the top of the ninth inning, Desmond Jennings pinch hits for Jose Lebaton and strikes out, swinging. Jeff Keppinger pinch hits for Elliot Johnson and grounds out to shortstop. So that means 26 men up, 26 men down, right?
We're one
we
out
come
away.
to the last man.
This leaves
Who
Sean
is
Rodriguez.
this? Who is Sean Rodriguez?
Just some jabroni.
He's a guy.
This is the 27th batter with so much on the line. That brings us to our next slide. We're going to pause here.
I'm so fucking confused about what's happening in these pictures.
Yeah, of course.
There's so many jerseys. There are so many jerseys for a team that has it's against two games. A game that is against two teams. I'm so confused as to why
Zach,
there's so
have
many
you
jerseys.
fooled us with a double episode? We thought we knew what it was about.
No one's pulled the triple fake out. We've all pulled the triple fake out at this point.
So in 2015, Max Scherzer was throwing a perfect game against the Pirates. On the 27th batter, he hit Jose Tabata, giving up the perfection but taking home the no-hitter.
So we got a hit. off
What
of
what
this.
pictures
Legit.
are these? Because I
Top
see a
left.
couple pirates.
Top left is the is Max Scherzer throwing
Okay,
and
okay.
hitting Jose.
Oh, he hit
Um,
by pitch him.
Hit by pitch, yeah.
Ooh, brutal.
Yeah. Then we have Rich Hill. Big old Dick Mountain.
Okay.
Rich Hill lost a perfect game in the ninth inning due to an error on the field. He then lost the no-hitter on a walk-off home run in the 10th inning in a 1-0 game against the Pirates.
You know,
That's the
I would
shot.
rather be Hill than Scherzer. Because
Really?
you hit by a pitch a guy, that's on you entirely.
Oh, yeah.
You give up the perfect game on an error. Unless it was your error, it's someone else's fault.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can still live in that land of what if.
There's a lot of what-ifs that happen here. And you, Darvish, right here,
Mm-hmm.
in just his second start in the major leagues. So, Ryan, kind of
For the
coming up
Houston
against where you were
Astros.
thinking with Humber in his second start. This is you, Darvish, not with Houston Astros.
Oh, playing-
Texas Rangers.
okay.
Playing against the Houston Astros.
But it's second appearance.
Did
It
you,
is-
Darvish, end up playing for the Astros?
No.
Okay.
Is
He's
this
a
a
Doyer
ninth?
now.
Is this a
Or no,
ninth
he's a Padre.
inning?
This is the last batter he would face.
This is number
And
27.
it,
for
and
all-
it goes
for all
towards
of
his
these men.
ankles. And he-
Marwin Gonzalez hits it right up the middle,
right between his legs.
right between his legs.
And his second baseman wasn't good enough to make up for that.
Not. So in the middle
Or
here,
the shift fucked the
it's
second
painful.
the middle here is Mike Mussina, who twice entered the ninth with a perfect scorecard. In 2001, when he was with the Yankees,
Oh, shit,
they
he's
were playing
fielding
the
first
Red
base,
Sox.
too?
He's not
in this
fielding
play?
first base.
baseman. He's not? Okay.
This is the middle, right here, right over the middle, up on the top.
Oh, okay.
Or
my
the
bad.
Orioles jersey. Carl Everett broke it up with the 2 outs in 1997, but in 1997, while with the Orioles in this jersey here, Sandy Alomar Jr. broke it up with 1 out in the inning. So he has gone deep into the ninth with a perfecto, but that's been not knocked around, I should say.
I mean, there are countless pitchers who have a life story like this, where
So,
they made it 8
We're
perfect innings.
they made it 7 innings.
or
and it just didn't have.
8.2 perfect innings.
Are all these ninth inning?
Yeah.
Losers.
Armando Galarraga is one of the greatest and most noteworthy broken up perfectos in the history of time. And a lot of people want to give it to him, even though it's not statistically a perfect game. So,
Who's
facing the Cleveland
Number
Guardians,
58?
number 58
Yeah,
right
okay.
here, base runner right here. While facing the Cleveland
He
Guardians,
didn't get fucked by the umpire.
While
did he?
hey!
Oh,
While
and-
facing the Cleveland Guardians, and the last batter he would face,
Were they the Guardians at this point?
Jim Joyce, the
They
first
weren't.
base umpire, calls this batter safe. Right
Oh,
here.
he got fucked by the ump.
So this is the moment he catches the ball. He's tagged the base.
Yep.
He's the pitcher covering first base.
Yes.
He had to run from the pitcher's mound to first base to collect a pitch or a throw from either the second baseman or an outfielder, most likely the second baseman, and he did it.
He did it, and he's 4 feet away and safe.
He's actually several miles away.
Yeah, that's a million.
He is halfway.
That's a country ass mile.
In
right
the
there.
world of like baseball replays and slow mo, that's a million light years away from being safe.
So Jim Joyce was booed after that game.
He should be. Fuck him.
And-
Replace him with a robot and a laser. That's what I always say.
So,
Kill
but
all refs. All
after-
refs must hang.
after the game, Joyce apologized to Galarraga in tears, and Armando returned the favor to him with the lineup card as like a symbolic gesture of like
His
no hard
fucking
feelings.
agent should have sued the league.
That brings us to our
I
next
kn-
slide,
Yeah.
please. Perfection, right? So Sean Rodriguez check swings on a 2-2 pitch. It didn't matter if he went across the plate or not because it was a fucking strike. And all eyes were on Felix for this, right? Did I get it right? There it is. That's the slide I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Home plate, Rob Drake calls it a strike, and history is made. Felix becomes the 23rd pitcher in the history of Major League Baseball to throw
Oh,
a
he
perfect
just
game.
does it.
He just does it.
But
Boom.
he's also the 27th,
Can we go back one?
Perfect
What
game?
was that? Yeah.
23rd person, but maybe the 27th perfect game, right?
20... No, there's only been 24.
Okay.
But he's the 23rd. So he's not the last perfect man.
Mm-mm.
Let me weave my fucking
knew this
web,
all
you
along.
dudes. Let me fucking tell my fucking story, you fucks.
Let him sing a song.
So the kid from Valencia, the 14-year-old who was sold the dream of fame under the lights, was crowned under the Emerald Sun, right? If we go
Yeah.
back to the next slide. 34 years old, wearing the number 34, 114 games, finally in Seattle. 34 years, 114 games in Seattle, and Seattle finally had a perfect game. It's
Our first.
Our
Randy
first perfect
Johnson
game.
and Throno No.
No, yep.
That might only be the closest thing that Seattle had ever had.
Oh, wow.
Before
so
Felix's
no
perfect
other
game.
perfect games from like
No.
Hi,
perfect
my name's
games.
Greg Kenny, and I'm
Yeah.
a great pitcher
Greg
in
didn't throw it.
1983.
No
well, the
perfect
Mariners
games.
weren't a team until 77.
Seven.
Yeah, still.
The year
But-
after the Seahawks, another team got to fill the kingdom, and it was the Seattle Mariners.
So on this note, and looking at the scorecard, it just shows the same kind of thing. The team piling
Dominance.
onto
Yeah.
him. This is the iconic pose Felix threw up when he knew that the strike was called. I want to shine a light onto announcer Dave Sims because this was his second perfect game he got to call in the booth. His third no-hitter he got to call that season in the booth. And when it came to the
And he
Chicago
was-
White Sox game, they switched to a national broadcast. So he was a Mariners paid announcer that now had to sell to a national audience and give an unbiased call of the game,
Whoa,
watching his team get pulled through the mud.
Let's
It's
also
the same year as the Chicago White Sox.
Same year.
Yeah.
So we had
Opposite
no.
A
We,
months.
4
we,
months
we had a
later.
no. We had a perfect game.
Perfect
or,
game.
4 months later, after the Mariners had a perfect game thrown against them.
Dave Sims, to watch him be a kid from Philadelphia, come over to Seattle and just sell himself into being a Mariners fan.
Well, and also,
he
too,
sells
like-
us more on the game than we. Like Dave Sims
The,
gave
the
me more hope.
enthusiasm is
The enthu-
contagious, like sort of a
we
deal.
are happy when he's happy, and we sulk when he sulks. And when he brings us to the
He's one of us.
brother, another bases loaded strikeout.
Dave
Yeah.
Sims is one of us.
It's it takes a certain level of sportscaster.
Exactly. And for him to set aside that bias on this newly
Yeah.
team, he was like 2 or 3 years into the game. So, I mean, yes, guys,
He does it.
he did it, and
He did the thing.
he was the 23rd man to do it. And Taylor, you came in here knowing, Ryan, you have spoiler alerted yourself. There's been 24 people that have done it. He is not the last perfect man. So, let's move on to number 24. Domingo Germán, who on June 28th, 2023, in Oakland, California, amongst 12,000 illegitimate
This
number.
year to date
This
this.
year.
Yeah.
12,479 people. Domingo Germán threw a perfect game in an 11-0 blowout against the Oakland Athletics.
I remember the group chat, the True to the Blue Discord
Yeah.
group that Zach drug my ass into, despite I don't know all that much about baseball.
It's the moments you choose to talk is the golden moments. When you chime in with something, everyone's like, yeah, Tay-Rob's still lurking.
I only talk when I know what I'm talking about in that group chat. But no, I remember this night because of the fact that like it was blowing the fuck up. Mm-hmm. In the fact that
It was a big night.
someone else was throwing a perfect game, and it was like 7 innings deep. It was 8 innings deep.
Mm-hmm.
We were in the 9th inning, and this guy still had a perfect game going. I got a play-by-play of this.
I tuned in.
Domingo.
That's a great question. Are you ready for the next slide?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Next slide. Domingo Germán. Domingo Germán was born August 4th, 1992, in San Pedro de Macua, Dominican Republic. At 17, he was signed with an international free agent by the Florida Marlins. And in 2014, at the age of 22, he was an All-Star Futures game. And then he got added to the Marlins 40-man roster, which is that's a whole thing. I think we talked about that
in a September where it's like
Yeah.
a useless
Yeah.
fucking major league.
So
spot.
later in that year, he would be traded to the New York Yankees and become a part of their system where he still remains today. He missed the 2015 season due to Tommy John surgery, named after Tommy John, then dropped by the...
Oh, he had Papa John surgery,
Papa John surgery.
where he ate too many
Yeah.
pizzas at
if
one
I
time.
might interject possibly one last time in this thing. Tommy John is like the death fucking knell in baseball. It's a surgery that can take not 1, but sometimes 2 to 3
Where
seasons.
on the body does the
It's
surgery?
an elbow injury
Oh,
for a
gotcha.
pitcher.
Okay.
It's where your ulnar nerve is completely fucked. And they have to like graft it with like some other nerve or a cadaver's nerve in your body, and it can sometimes take like 2 to 3 years to return to like what you were before you had that surgery.
Yeah. But
Fuck.
there's different
Yeah.
levels of
Yeah.
severity to it.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
But at the
Richard
same time,
Sherman needed Tommy John surgery as a football player, and it meant nothing to him. As a pitcher in MLB baseball,
It's a big
it's the
it's a
world.
death
As
sentence.
a batter,
Yeah.
Bryce Harper, fun fact here, boys.
Yeah.
Bryce Harper had Tommy John surgery right after he lost the World Series. So the last series of games of the baseball season, had surgery, came back, and played his first game before the Oakland Athletics won a single game in the MLB of the 2023 season. Cat down.
You as a batter, it's like a series of months. As a pitcher, it can be multiple years or seasons.
Oh,
to
yeah.
recover
it can really
from
set you back.
Understandably.
It can really set you back. So in 2015, he missed the season due to Tommy John surgery, and the Yankees dropped him in hopes of getting a cheaper deal to re-sign him. And he took the bait. He's like, I'd rather be with the Yankees than.
I'd rather be with a team that maybe can do something than a team that may not go anywhere.
It's the freaking Yankees, you know. Everybody wants to be. Most people want to be a Yankee. A year later, in 2018, he would make his first big league start. By July 21st, he was optioned back to AAA. Okay, bouncing up, bouncing down. Felix only got to the show, stayed there, except for injuries. Yeah. But in 2019, he was named the opening day starter for the Yankees. And then Germán would bounce up and down between the majors and AAA. And he would actually claim 5 different jersey numbers for the Yankees. And that's kind of a signal of when they don't kind of respect you enough to maintain that jersey number. When they think they're going to bring you back, so they'll hold that number for you. He never got that courtesy. Or maybe he chose different numbers for different periods of his life. So that will bring me to my next slide. 2019. He was placed on administrative leave pending an investigation and suspension due to domestic violence, which I, couldn't get a photo of if I wanted to. So we're going to talk about the sticky stuff.
It would be really, really bad taste if you did have a photo, right, Zach?
So
Yeah.
we're going to talk about then in 2020 when he was suspended for having
A foreign substance.
foreign substance, which you can see
Yeah.
it was on Jackie Robinson Day.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 42. Every player that day wears that number.
Ooh. Foreign substance, you mean like he has pine tar on his
Something
hands?
to make it
Pine
Something-
tar,
Something-
stick 'em,
something-
something.
So In January of 2020, he was suspended 63 games for violating the season's conduct policy due to the domestic violence. That was the harshest penalty a Major League Baseball player has faced for domestic violence without actually being penalized through the courts. So this was all through
A guy who had never been actually like found guilty of a domestic violence crime.
Exactly. So then the 2020 season being shortened due to COVID, he missed the majority of the season, but was eligible for the postseason, which he still didn't pitch in. And in 2021, Drummond found it hard to gain trust in his arm and his conduct. He ended the year with a 4-5 record and a 4.58 ERA. In 2022, he began the season on the 60-day IL. And May 16th, 2023, Drummond was ejected from the game.
And
the
60-day IL is a pretty significant injury. 10-day
I mean,
IL
that's
is like,
a lot of baseball you're missing.
Exactly.
10-day IL is like you got a boo-boo. A 60-day IL is like you
Put some
got a
dirt on
legit
it.
10
injury.
days, I got a thing.
My back hurts.
Yeah, sure. Go to Vegas, come back.
Exactly. So, May 16th, 2023, he was ejected from a Toronto Blue Jays game for illegal substance during the third inning. He was suspended 10 games and fined, and he declined to appeal it. I mean, evidence is right there on his
That's a
pants.
pretty light punishment, though.
Well,
for
I mean, if you have a referee coming and checking their, you're an umpire.
they're called umpires in baseball.
If you have your Final Fantasy umpire coming and checking your hands and giving you the red flag and being like, nah, there's something here.
Well, and here's the thing. There was a whole year where people on the internet were watching this game slow down, and they gained popularity to say, look at how this guy keeps touching his ear. There's something up there, right? So the next year, the MLB implemented every time a pitcher leaves the mound at the end of the inning, you have to check their hands. Check their hands, check their gloves, make sure there's nothing weird going. Every single pitcher coming into the game, coming out of the game.
Here's where I go, like, it's like steroids in any sports where I'm kind
It's
of like,
not.
it's not, but at the same time, would pitching be better if everybody had access to sticky stuff?
Probably. Pitching would be better. Hitting would be less.
Rather than just a few that try to get away from it. Like it is better than steroids. You aren't destroying your body by using sticky
The
stuff. You are
Well, in
saving
steroids,
it.
you still have to work out to get
Yeah.
strong, to hit the ball farther. This
Well,
just
with
gives you
Apples
a-
and-
pitching,
apples
too,
and
you still have to
oranges.
know how to throw a slider. you know?
yes,
But I'm talking about cheating
Yeah.
from like a personal how you can
Benefit?
benefit.
Yeah.
Yes, from the game. You know, like
Yeah, you would. It
on a
gives you a better
personal
hold
level.
of the ball. And the
Yeah.
thing about sticky stuff is, apparently all pitchers use something. There's some sort of ritual, but it's what is
Yeah.
good and what is.
If you're
I
if you
pointed
could
out-
be a great pitcher, but if you have sweaty palms, you're fucked.
Yeah.
I pointed out
And if
something.
your knees are weak and your arms are heavy, you're going to be tough.
Yeah.
I pointed out
Mom's
a point
spaghetti.
earlier in the game. Felix Hernandez somewhat like made it fashionable
The sweat on the
Yeah.
blade.
to have the long sleeves even in those hot ass summer games, because hopefully that sleeve catches enough sweat that it doesn't make it to your fingers and impacts the spin of the ball that you intend to impart on it as you
So-
throw
I'm
it.
just taking the hot take of, if everybody had access to sticky stuff,
everyone had guns.
baseball would be a faster game.
everyone
It would
does.
be a less offensive
Sticky
game, yeah.
stuff is not that hard to get your hands on, man. Like
No.
pine tar's cheap as shit.
So, Juwan, domestic abuse, is ineligible for the
Yeah.
next season.
That's where I'm a little bit harder on him.
Pitch,
not gonna play
injury
devil's
injury
advocate on
prone
that
in
one.
his first season eligible 2021. 2022 begins the season on the injured list and gets ejected for sticky substances.
Foreign substance.
So let's go to the next slide. Leading up to the perfect game, Drummond had not shown a lot of promise. He was not a pitcher of consistency, and of course, the other team gets paid too. So I mean, I chalk it up to something like that too.
Oh,
So of his last 5 games, 4 were decisions, 2 wins, 2 losses, and 1 was a no decision because the team didn't have the lead when he left the game.
but I mean that's baseball.
That's baseball.
In a sense, like
Lloyd McClendon.
yeah,
over
you
here.
have 5 unremarkable games, and then you pitch a fucking perfect game.
So June 16th, he faced the Boston Red Sox for 2 innings and got pulled. As we can see, 2.0 innings, 7
Yeah.
hits, 7 runs, all of them earned, 2 walks,
Yeah, they
1
gave
strikeout.
him an orange slice and a Capri Sun, and
and a little bit of Oreo pack. His next start would be against Seattle, who handed him 10 runs on 8 hits
Shellacked him.
with 3.1 innings pitched. So he got into the 4th inning, and they just gave it to him. The Mariners got 4 home runs off of him in that outing. That's pretty
Yeah,
fucking
no.
fantastic. That feels good.
it's
That's
a
pretty
bad
good.
day. June 22nd is a bad day in his career.
This specifically, it was really easy to get a win. This season specifically, it was really easy to get a win in Oakland because Oakland is seemingly tanking. The ownership doesn't care too much about the team to provide them with anybody of substance. They've traded away a lot of
like
their good team.
grassroots
And
fan
they're trying to
solidarity
sell.
campaigns
They're trying to
this
sell
year.
to go to
Vegas.
Vegas right now.
Yeah.
And they had a reverse protest this season where everybody bought tickets and tried to sell out the place, and it worked. A lot of people showed up to the game. It was a big boom. and
Whoa. Oakland Athletics are now in Vegas.
Not yet.
And
They're-
not officially.
and not officially.
Yet.
But yes, as of this time. But modern day, yes.
No.
This was just like 2 months ago.
No. As of
Oh.
today, they are still the Oakland Athletics.
We're still in present time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're still the Oakland Athletics.
They're trying to make them the Las Vegas Athletics, but it hasn't quite officially happened yet. It is a foregone conclusion.
They took the Raiders. Now they're taking the Athletics.
Pretty much.
Oakland's gone.
Yeah.
Say
Oakland-
la vie to
Everyone's
Oakland.
leaving.
Oakland is a failed city in
Dear
terms
listener,
of like
if
American.
you're still in Oakland, I'm so sorry.
The
I'm
only
so,
thing
so
Oakland
sorry.
technically has going for them right now is the Warriors. At this point,
They're in San Francisco. They already moved to San Francisco.
I'm just
soon
saying.
to be the Las Vegas
Soon to be Las
Warriors.
Vegas.
Like I said, technically
Oakland-
has going for them.
Oakland proper has nothing anymore if the A's leave.
Mhm.
At all. They don't have
It
the
just
Raiders.
becomes-
They don't have the
They
Warriors,
just have Bay Area pride at a certain point in time.
Which is like, good
And
for
it,
you.
and
okay.
it's you have the Giants and the Warriors.
Which are West Bay, which is so stupid, dude.
And the 49ers are in Santa Clara at this point. So like of all your NorCal teams, only one of them is in Northern California.
Okay, so next slide.
Yeah.
The next 5 outings for Domingo he would go 0-2, giving up 6 runs to the Mets on July 25th, and Domingo would pitch 5 shutout innings against the Rays on the 31st, and that would be his last outing of the year. On August 2nd, the Yankees would announce that Germán agreed to voluntarily submit to inpatient treatment for alcohol abuse. The team put him on the restricted list and would not be active for the remainder of the season. It was revealed that Germán was acting belligerent in the clubhouse and would get into confrontations with his manager, Aaron Boone. It was also noted that he would flip furniture and smash a TV in one of several different incidents.
You know, we all can't be Bam Margera.
You
As
know,
much as we
all
want.
can't
Bam
fuck shit up a
Margera
little
can't
bit.
be Bam Margera.
No, not
at
anymore.
at a certain point.
Bam is over now.
No. It shows that like this is clearly a guy who's going through his shit, and at
Yeah.
a certain point, it doesn't even matter if you would obtain like the unachievable. Like you're gonna inevitably get brought down to earth at some point in time.
So that brings me to my next slide. So what is perfection? In the game of baseball, is it a pitcher halts all transportation to the base paths, and they shut down all traffic in an effort to lead their team to victory? The pitcher does everything possible to put their team in the best position to win. In the case of the American League pitchers, they do all the defensive work and hope the offense delivers something. In the sense of perfect as a person, in the sense of the perfect game reflecting a perfect person,
The
I don't-
perfect man.
the perfect man.
I do guess that it is slightly easier to be a perfect pitcher in the National League up until the year, 2021, 2022, because you had an active effect on how many hits and runs and home runs.
The pitchers
there
were still bad
was.
batters.
They were
They're
bad
always bad
batters,
batters.
but you could still potentially hit a home run yourself and then throw 9 perfect innings to secure the perfect game.
I'm throwing a dagger straight into the humanist part of this, where it doesn't matter what man has a perfect game. There are just some people that love the game more than others, or are more focused on the game. A perfect game can happen to anybody, but there's very few that love the game and can appreciate the level of play that they've done, even in a night, more than just giving a
day.
in a
In a
day,
random day.
in a day, more than somebody who's it just happens to more than somebody who's just sort of like, well, I showed up after 5 years of playing, and when you know it, I got it.
I mean,
Like-
considering the two guys he is like bookended by, Felix Hernandez certainly feels like the more of the like ideal storybook perfect game.
Yeah,
Then
it's
the
a
other two
player
guys-
doing great and then gets a perfect game, rather
Yeah.
than a rando who just can get it at any time because
Sometimes
that's
a
the
rando
sport.
gets it though. Like,
Yeah,
that's
and
sport.
that's a story within itself. But Felix is a story.
Felix is a story.
He's
And it's a story that hasn't necessarily like finished yet. He's entered that sort of pantheon of ex-Mariners who hang around the team and impart their influence on it to hopefully bring some of, for lack of a better term, the mojo that they brought to the field when they were on the field to the players who are now on the field.
And he brought it in a lull of good energy. So, in the sense of the game, a perfect game can represent a single moment in time where someone was a master of their craft. And I don't think that necessarily, as we've kind of discussed here, that represents the man that occurs to, right? A perfection can be a flash in the pan of a day. Does the perfect game hold up to the title it gives? Not so much. No. But in the context of human being, it can mean someone who lacks flaws, who exhibits a level of glory others wish to achieve. They lack deficiencies, excel in everything they attempt, and they are perfect. Which brings me to my next slide. Felix would end his career in tears in 2019. As all heroes in the limelight, he's shown until he showed his light until it was dull. You watched him kind of limped into the last season, where he ended up with a 3.
he had a long Twilight era of like, yeah, he's not doing as nearly as good as he did,
He's
but
not doing
you
the
know,
stuff. He's not dancing.
And then he
as
was
but
much.
he's still here and he's doing okay.
And then he was a New York Met for a hot.
He was
few
not a New
months.
York man at all. In 2019,
Atlanta Brave.
I'm gonna get to that.
Okay.
In 2019, he was given up the opening day starter job was given up to Marco Gonzalez, who would hold it for a couple years, but it broke the streak of 10 years. He would be the opening starter for the Mariners.
Which, as a pitcher, is a significant. Like, it means you're the guy.
Yeah.
Like, you're the guy the
Front runner.
team's riding with for this season.
And on September 26, 2019, he would pitch his final game. And a typical 3-1 Mariner loss, yeah, right? He would end his season 1-8 and become a free agent in the fall. And so in 2020, he signed with the Atlanta Braves. But before we knew what COVID was, so when it came to do you want to play in the COVID season or not, he's opted not to. The next year, he signed in 2021 with the Baltimore Orioles to a minor league career, in which the same thing, he opted out of the contract before the season even started. So, purely as Edgar Martinez, he's only played with the Seattle Mariners his entire career. That'll bring me to what
who's he
this.
with on
That's
the right?
Ken Griffey Jr., dog.
That's Ken Griffey Jr.
He's
dog.
getting old.
He is getting old.
He is getting
to
old.
Be
That's
fair
the,
to you,
that's the kid.
to be fair to you, he
The
is
kid?
getting old. But
the
that
kid's
is-
the grandkid,
that's Ken
like
motherfucking
granddad
Griffey
by
Jr..
now. Yeah. Oof.
So this is actually the slide I meant to tell. I got all my slides mixed up, y'all. So this has been a fun stumble through. He led the team in some very dark times.
I mean, he
led
was
the
like
team
one half
after Griffey had left. There was a lull period. Ichiro comes in. There's a lull period. Ichiro and Felix are on the same team for a little bit, 2 different times. He
Then
never
Griffey
went-
comes back for a hot
Yeah.
minute.
For like
It was-
a weekend.
it was a
It's
lo-
like
it was a
Dad came back
Dad-
from smokes for a
Exactly.
weekend.
It was for a season and a half, and then naps happened and controversy occurred.
So he would never play in a playoff game. And
The biggest crime.
He would always put his team in the situation to win, but like I said, the team never delivered to what he was giving them. So he would pitch a perfect game, a great game, perfect quotations. He would pitch a great game, but then the team would never be able to supply him with runs to give him a W.
He would pitch like well into 7-8 innings, giving up no runs, but a few hits.
Yeah.
But like the team just could not generate hits or runs. They sometimes would generate hits, but they couldn't turn those hits into runs.
Well, in the world
then
of
you lose-
any major sports, you're looking for that superstar, and sometimes you have that superstar, and they do their best, but the rest of the team
In a
just
sport
isn't
like baseball,
there
you
to-
need at least more than one superstar.
Yeah.
So in 2014, Felix set a major league record for most consecutive quality starts. And that is a pitcher, that goes out for 7 or more innings complete, right? And gives up 2 or less runs.
Okay.
He did this.
A new metric.
It's a safer
Yes.
metric. It's
It's a-
existed for a few years
Yeah.
at this point.
He did that 16 straight games,
Oh, fuck.
which was the most to do so since Tom Seaver did it in 1971 with 13 games. So of those 16 games, 9 of them were calculated as wins. He got 9 wins out of that. 2 were losses, and that means 5 were no decisions. So 7 of those 16 times, the team was not able to give back to him what he'd given to them.
They put it in some other guy who completely fucking blew it.
And
Yeah.
the team was not able to give him runs.
Yeah,
2
yeah, yeah.
runs is a very manageable place to be in.
If there was a semblance of offense on the Mariners, like
They'd be in it. at
they'd be
least. They may not
dominating.
win,
Yeah.
but they'd at least be in it.
Yeah.
So the perfect game is a prime example of that. You know, it was a 1-run game. Humber got 5? So, I don't know. I don't want to even look back.
4.
Humber got a lot of runs. Drummond got 11 runs in support.
Okay.
A team that was showing support for their pitcher while it was happening. So that brings me to my last slide, please. All right. If we look at the stats of Humber, we see that he was not a perfect pitcher, but he had a perfect game. And if we look at the life of Domingo Germán, we can see that he is not a perfect man, but he had a perfect day. If we look at the career of Felix Hernandez, we can see that he was a perfect player for a team that was not perfect for him. And so, like Lou Piniella once said a long time ago, stats are like bikinis, show a lot, but they do not show everything. And that's my slideshow, y'all.
Well, were you expecting a B plus? Like,
No, I wasn't.
I'll give you an A-
Yeah.
on this one.
Thanks, y'all.
Maybe even a straight solid A 95%.
Wow.
I know we're ribbing you right now,
Yeah.
but at the same time, great through line.
Perfection.
We also picked 3 great subjects for here's what a perfect game is.
Yeah.
And here's 3 vastly different games
Yeah.
and people.
Yeah.
You know, given their where they are at that time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Fucking wonderful, bud.
Thanks, boys. Appreciate it. Anyway, so that's my show, y'all. I think just like to wrap it up right now,
Sure.
and just
Fair enough.
say thank y'all for listening, and thanks for sitting around for this slideshow, you know. Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome,
Thanks
Zach.
for taking us on this ride.
Thanks for being here in person.
Hey, anytime. I mean, don't
Not
ask me to do it
literally
again.
at any time.
But figuratively, anytime.
What? You're not going to be?